Yo, what up, everybody? It is super late at night, and this is the only time this week that I pretty much have available to kind of do a look of BITWIG's brand new update, which I knew that we were expecting it. I guess I wasn't expecting it today or this week even. I was planning on maybe going home and doing a review on it, but yeah, we're on crunch time. I'm going to NAMM this week on Friday, and I've got tomorrow to produce, and I'm trying to finish up some tunes for a show the following week. So we're pretty much like it's grind time. Long story short. So even though we've been doing a ton of stuff, uh, yeah, it's quite a bit. Let me share quickly with the Discord that I'm live, and you and I, friends, are going to be taking a look at BITWIG 5.0. I've got the patch notes pulled up. We'll be, yo, what up, Chris? We're going to be taking a look, but before, just as a cool little demo, one thing that I was pretty excited about, beyond the obvious of MSEGS, is that you can randomize the tempo now. So if you put a bass loop on here, and then you randomize the tempo and make it do cool and crazy things, it sounds like this. Which is nothing necessarily amazing, but if you combine that with one of my racks, which is actually really important to talk about for the fact that if you have LFO synced things, it's going to match the speed changing with third-party effects, then that means, my friends, that we're going to get some really cool, crazy textures and stuff. Kind of like this. Wow. That's just like perfect for horror movie nightmares. Maybe we can try a different preset on here as well, just to kind of see what happens before we dive into all the other stuff. Now, the beta is got a few bugs in it. It had some trouble reading a couple of my plugins, but it is a beta, so that's kind of to be expected. But let me go ahead and change this into a faster time sync, maybe like, I don't know, 2 out of 16. And then just for fun, I just want to see what this is going to do, because I don't even know yet. But I mean, even still, it's cool. And to think about this having potential with being able to resample what comes out of this is a lot of fun. So one thing that I would recommend is whenever you're doing this, put the rolling sampler on. I did a video about that. But now if you take a listen whenever this moves, let's see if we get anything interesting. And maybe what I can also do as well, I just for the sake of being thorough, is I'm going to come back into the browser and then just throw something like a drum loop in here. So that way, maybe... Sure. We can have a little bit of variety of different kinds of sounds and stuff, and maybe I'll pitch this one up, maybe I'll pitch this one down, so that way they're all a little bit different. We'll see what this does, if anything. And saved. Thanks for the rolling sampler. So, hey, Weird Boots, how are you, bro? Am I going to see you Friday? Hopefully you're doing well, dude. So, yeah, I mean, from this, there's a lot of different opportunities for things that you can do, especially if you have synchronized methods of different LFOs or anything of the sort that is kind of like an effect processor. So something that would be really cool for you to try if you have it is Infiltrator while working on the modulated tempo thing. Now, it is really cool, but I will say that beforehand you can actually automate the tempo and things of the sort anyways. So I don't know how interesting that is to you all, but the fact that you can just put a modulator on it now and not have to draw in the, I'm going to say this a lot, the automation is a big step in the right direction. So yeah, exactly. Just modulate the BPM into whatever. So something that I covered in the other video, in other videos though, rather, which I think is relatively interesting, is that you can, again, automate the different master groove parameters But now with these modulators, I don't know if you guys hear the cat over here or not, but with these different modulator parameters, we can kind of put the randoms on here, kind of like so. And then over the entire project, we have stuff like rate and time base and smooth, and all these other things that kind of change this into interesting stuff. I'm actually looking at the wrong thing. I need to be looking at the groove pool here. But this thing is super cool, and I covered this in another video about creating custom grooves and different things of the sort. But I think that what we can do on this is go into here and see if we can grab this little guy. And for some reason, the project thing is not where I want it to be. Let me click off of this and see if I can change the groove of this. There it is. So now I just go into this guy and hit the key button, and you'll see that this is going to be modulated as well. Hold on, let me pull this up. Okay, now it's blue. So we can modulate the phase, we can modulate the shuffle, the accent, and this is just like sound design freaking crazy, but you can see that this is kind of moving on its own, being super duper fast. So let's go ahead and make this just a little bit slower and see if this is going to change the loop that we have right here and make it play back in a different way. Okay, so I'm going to get out of this, and maybe I'll set this to 1/4 beat because I didn't really notice a difference, and maybe we can turn this on and see what this is doing in the first place, and maybe start this here and see if this shuffle is going to do anything crazy, and set this to 1. Yeah, still seems like it's playing in the same way. So what happens if we maybe change this to slice mode? This is what I'm here for, is we're just taking a look at this. This is my first time opening up the project, so I don't know if this is going to make any differences or not, but even still, you know, it's worth figuring out because potentially this can do some really cool stuff. I just don't know how to make it do its magic yet. Ah, see, now you can hear it. So to put things into perspective, if you were to turn the modulation off and just change the groove, and we were to do like just full blown. So now that was kind of playing back in a normal way, but adding the shuffle, and it still seems relatively mild, but I find that to be kind of interesting. But perhaps if we were to slice this in place by the onsets, well, that was a weird screen, and then we quantize this. Let's see, actually, let me just try this and see if that does anything. There we go. Okay, so now that we're getting an effect, let's go ahead and turn the randomizer back on this and see if we can get some cool shuffling from this. Now this is also an extreme use case, so how effective this will be kind of up to the person. But I can appreciate that having the ability to even automate that is pretty sick. But in order to get this to work in the way that you want it to, you have to cut this clip up, or you have to use MIDI. So I guess that's something else that we could do too. If I were to just quickly design a hat or something. This is the new browser, by the way. I'm totally not used to it. I just kind of use it in the same way that I would try to do normally, but we'll take a look at that here in a second. But if you just grab some noise, go like this, and we're not going to put too much time into this because I've got plenty of videos on how to make hats and stuff. But if we were to take a look at this and go here and just create something very simple, maybe a little bit higher. Let's add just a touch of compression to this. I don't need this hat to sound good. It's really just for the sake of demonstration. My producer mindset is like, nah, man, you got to impress people, but no, we don't have to. So let's say we take this off and you've got MIDI. Now, whenever we listen to this, let's see this kind of tweak itself and see if the playback is going to do anything interesting. So you can see by using the shuffle and manipulating like that, if you've got any MIDI clips or if you have any audio that's broken up into its own audio events, then you can repitch those, or not repitch them, but you can like modify the timing of when those play back and essentially create different variations of your same drum loop. That makes things super convenient. And again, I've shown how to do this manually, but it's nice to be able to just put some kind of LFO on here or some kind of modulator or randomizer or something to be able to do that. I hate the new browser. It sucks. I feel like it's not that bad. It's going to take some getting used to, but I mean, I don't know. I always just did it the Ableton way and was like, okay, I want phase plant or something, right? Or I want Pro Q, and making sure that I have the right category. But there's Pro Q. There's, you know what I mean? Something of the sort. I mean, I think that I could see that, but at the same time with the customization and stuff in general, oh, that's kind of cool. You got like a little mini one. Just use the search function. And I don't know if it categorizes samples and stuff for you in the way that people were wanting, but I mean, yeah, it's hard for me to say because I never use the browser like that. If I need to use the browser, it's always over on the right, and it looks like this hasn't really changed anyways. I just type in for what I need. So just so you all know, like if I'm using BITWIG, what I do is if I'm looking for an instrument, I use the browser here. If I'm looking for a sample, I use the browser on the right because you have access to different browsers, which is really neat. But it doesn't really change a whole lot for me because I just use the samples like that. And then that's just the sample browser. And I just look for, you know, what it is that I want anyways. And then if I want, you know, a plugin, which let's be honest here, if I want phase plant, I just type in phase plant, or I type in saturate, or like, you know, the small amount of, I have this many plugins, I use about this many. So I have 60 or something collections now, and it's poorly available. I mean, there's some free alternatives and stuff too, though, that will help you kind of like sort some of that stuff. What is it, like Loop Cloud? XO is great for manipulating or figuring out your drum situation, you know, so if you want to try to organize that, I hear Atlas is even better. I like XO because I just like the way it looks, to be honest. But yeah, that doesn't really solve the BITWIG issue, but I would need somebody to tell me what it is that they're trying to do to organize their sample library in general, because like I said, I don't really have a whole lot. And I tend to like make a lot of my own samples and then put them on a hard drive and then forget about them and then just start fresh because I don't know, it's just the way that I work. So I could understand, but I'd have to have somebody tell me what it is that's going on. Punchbox and Drum Max are pretty nice. Yeah, but I don't think that they go and organize your samples for you though. I think that they're just cool drum machines. And that's just for plugins. I use Sononode for sample management. Okay, gotcha. I mean, even if this was revamped, would you know, like if you have an AI plugin that organizes your drum samples, do you think like would you still like, or like would you stop using that anyways, or would you still use, you know, your sample manager or whatever? So yeah. Something that is interesting that's cool is that, I mean, this is pretty much the same thing with macros and stuff, of having, you know, a different layout about how all these work. But I like that this tries to guess, in most cases, macros for you. Now, something that I'm interested in that I'm going to unfortunately need a little bit more time with is going back into the mixer section and checking out the new clip launcher things. And I suppose I can pull up a project to see if it'll work, but I'm not going to save it because I'm a little worried about the wonkiness about what's going on. But it's cool because like if you look over on the left, you can see that you can look at the devices or you can look at the quick functions here, and this can be kind of cool, especially if you're working in the clip launcher, to be able to make this unique. So if I'm over here and you know, let's say we go back into the device menu or whatever, and we've got this little thing going on, then it might be kind of cool to grab one of these guys and go into effects 9 as this is grouped here. So let me close this up. Pull one of these guys up, and then you know, I can either modulate the rate or the time within this thing here, which is almost like custom grooves, because if you look, the groove on this, which is, if that's what I think it is, then that's really freaking cool, because this might be custom grooves per audio thing. So let me back off of this and see if we finally have that now, because that was something that a lot of people were asking for, especially people coming from Ableton. Let me see if I can just turn these bad boys off. All right, so if I were to modulate these, okay, so these aren't being, you can't modulate these apparently. That's because this is the random modulator. Okay, so that would be cool that you can't do that, unfortunately, but that would be really nice if you could do that in the future. Hey, Austin, dude, I'm surprised all my regulars are out. What are you guys doing up, man? Go to bed. It's 2 o'clock in the morning. No, thank you for being here. I really appreciate it. So yeah, that would be cool if you can add per groove on this or something. And I also really want them to fix the repitch mode, so that way we can actually pitch this. Obviously you still cannot do that. I don't know why. It makes no sense to me why you can't do that. They supposedly added a new transient processor, a new transient detector, which is kind of cool, but I guess we're not really even going to know until we start to put things into practice. And like, I find that's a really hard feature to compare, right? It would be really hard to be like, well, I guess I could pull the old version up of BITWIG and see if they're any different, but we'd have to find some kind of abstract sample that would like be like, this didn't do a good job, but this one did a better job, right? I don't, it's 2 p.m. for you? Okay. Yeah, it's 2 a.m. for me, so what side of the world are you on? Yeah, anywho, what else do we got? I mean, we've got the obvious stuff, but I'm kind of dancing around that just because I feel like we all know, right? We've got MSEGS going on. Can you modulate the FX9 group with the global project? 3 a.m. bedtime is at 6. Yikes. It's 11 p.m. for you. Get it packed for noon. That's awesome, man. I'm only going to be there Friday, so I hope that if you have some time, I can at least just, stop by and shake your hand and just say what up. And maybe we could duke it out over disagreements or something over the internet or something, and, do it for charity or something. No, I'm just kidding, bro. But, no, man, I'd love to meet you and shake your hand and say what's up and introduce myself. Imagine if you could. Yeah, man, it'll be sick to me. Yeah, you as well, bro. Imagine if you could affect separate note on piano roll with different effects. That would be crazy, like per note effects. You're there from Wednesday until Saturday. Oh, so you're gonna are you leaving tomorrow? And you're staying in LA? My partner loves your videos, by the way. She's always like, does Weaver Beats have new videos? So you're doing God's work, entertaining my partner, showing up a day early. Awesome, man. I'm mostly going to, so I kind of have like an objective of meet the fellow content creators that are coming up. Then I'm going to meet with BITWIG, and then I'm probably going to try to. Oh, you've never been to Cali? So I'm from Cali. So I think we talked about that in our interview. If you guys didn't know, if you know me, you should know Weaver Beats, but he's got a channel that's way bigger than mine now. And he's the news guy. But we also have an interview on my channel from, I don't know what, 6 or 7 months ago. So that's super cool. Great guy though. Great stuff. Go follow his channel at Weaver Beats. Cali is dope. I guess if you're staying in LA and you're looking for things to do, feel free to ping me or DM me on Discord, or you can have my number too or something. But yeah, I grew up in LA, so that's kind of my old stomping grounds. It's both good and bad. I've seen some shit, and that's all from LA. Anywho, that's neither here nor there. Yeah, so I'm going to try to meet the content creators, and then I'm going to try to see BITWIG for a little bit and spend the majority of the time with the Kilohertz guys, because they're the ones that got me a ticket. Thank you, Kilohertz. I really appreciate it. If you guys are watching this video. So let's take a look at what else is new. And then if there's anything that you guys have found that you want to show me or you want to tell me about, then that's super cool. And the way that I do these things is I always, when a beta comes out like this, I always kind of like demo it and see what I like, see what I don't like. And then when the official release comes out, that's when I'll actually have a dedicated review for it. But obviously the biggest thing is the segments, which is the multi-stage envelope modulator within BITWIG. That's great. That's you know, super cool. It's almost like, finally. I'm curious to see if this transfer wave shaper is like, can you make your own curves with this? Because that would be huge news too. Hi, about sample organization, try Sononym or Resonant. Make maps and organize for 2 weeks. It's so boring to do, but on the long run, it can work so fast now. Hey, Markov. Yeah, I just use XO, to be honest. Or I just like downsize my sample pack library because it's too much fucking work. And really, like, unless if I need to sample something, like let's say I'm going to make like a hip hop tune or something, I'll just go sample it and then create a library for that and then organize it. And then when I'm done, get rid of it. But as opposed to like trying to hoard samples, I don't think that it's a very healthy, you know what I'm saying? Well, who am I to tell you how to make tunes? But I don't really feel like it's a super healthy kind of approach. So yeah, let me see here. Let's just pull up something brand new. I'm already disorganized, so we'll go into a new project here and see what's going on with these new devices and see what's going on. I just said that twice. It's late. I'm sorry. This is my second stream of the day, so I'm really tired. We went to a Mario Kart tournament tonight. Those guys are unfairly good. Okay, so what is this? I just want the device, please. I just want the device. Just the device. Devices. Plug in. Oh, okay. All right. That's a little. That's gonna take some getting used to. See, I told you the new browser sucks. Yo, what up, Dash? About to head out, pop in and say hello, and so stoked for this update. Yo, me too, man. I'm really happy. Thank you so much for coming in. I haven't seen you in forever, and I'm glad you're here. I really appreciate that. So one of the new things that we have is the scroll, which looks like a wavetable maker-ish. Yeah, it's kind of like a wavetable. Well, hold on. It's a waveform maker. That's a very different thing. But you can save it. So you can do single cycle wave tables on this, which I think is cool. It's kind of odd that you can't, can you make this bigger? I guess I could cheat it and do like a fake thing. It makes single cycle waveforms. You can't morph, but you can draw on the go while it's running. Oh really? That's cool. Okay, but can you modulate these? What is going on here? D. There we go. Grab a corner, you can enlarge it. I tried. Bruh. The devs, BITWIG devs are looking at me like, bro, you can't fucking make this bigger. I'm grabbing the corner. Okay, there we go. Sorry. Can you create more points? You can create a bunch more points. That's cool. So you can just double click anywhere. So it's kind of like Serum in that way. If I hit option, will it curve? It will. It'll curve. You can make boxes. So that's dope. Yeah, shout out to Dash Glitch. If you guys don't know Dash, like, what are you doing? Fun fact, Dash was actually the first person on YouTube to make content about BITWIG. Look, I can make a wavetable, which I actually think is pretty cool. And then you can, I keep saying wavetable, you can make a single cycle waveform, which I think is nice, but it would be cool if they just maybe in a future update just allowed you to maybe do like 1 frame or 2 frames, or like, it doesn't even need to be a frame by frame, but maybe just like a before and after, and then allowed you to morph in between. You could call it cascade waveform making or something. I'm making it up, but that way it doesn't need to be a fully fleshed thing. But I find it interesting that I don't think a single DAW has a wavetable maker. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think that the wavetable in Ableton does. Points are not modulatable. Okay, that makes me sad, but even still, look, I heard you and I feel you, but I'm still gonna try. Just for confirmation. Okay, he's right, you can't. Sad. Even still, I think that's kind of cool that it's just like, hey, here's a new waveform maker. I'm sure that there's a bunch of cool things that you can do with that. But my next question is is it a shaper? Yeah, it's a transfer. Is this a dedicated wave shaper? It is. Yo, we've got a wave shaper, which I guess we already kind of had a wave shaper. A very basic one with the curve, but this looks like a much more refined one. Hey Davey, how are you, bro? So you can select and set it to interpolate mode, then morph between two scrolls. I'm gonna have to ask you how to do that. My favorite YouTubers all in one spot, dude. Like, the YouTube community is relatively small, and I think that's kind of cool because it kind of holds us to be accountable, but it also means that, you know, we all know each other, and it's all dope. Oh, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah, I'm gonna try that here in a second, but I do want to hear how this sounds. So, what's up? Glad to watch your stream. Hey, Impossible. Add a select module, and it acts like a crossfade to interpolate mode. Select in or select out? Can add multiple points to sweep between. So you can essentially do this with a bunch of them. That's fucking cool. This is why I like having people like you in here, because I don't know how to do that. Like, you guys, when it comes to the grid stuff, this is not my world. So what do? We go select in, and then we duplicate this, I guess, and create one of these guys. And then is there a knob, or what would we use for that? A blend, maybe? No, wait, it's merge. Okay, no worries. Let me right click and just go merge, which is cool. Select as binary. Gotcha. So how do we morph in between these, though? That is the question. This is like Patcher and FL Studio. No, it's not. No, it's not. It's very different. I guess in some cases with routing and stuff, but this is a fully modular system, whereas Patcher, which is actually cool about Patcher, you can use third-party VSTs in which to create routing systems with. But the thing about Patcher is it doesn't have any modulators, and it doesn't really have, well, I guess, yeah, it doesn't really have any modulators, which is a big thing. So we need to add a value. And we do that before? And what, make this, is there a way to make this bipolar? Bruh, please. Or no, what we do, okay, I get it now. So what we do is we add this to the blue, right? Sakala blue. And then we add this to the out, I think. Yeah. Wouldn't you just do it with blend? Well, that was my question, but yeah. Why is the modulator on here? What is going on here? Okay, so let me change this quickly. Dash, thanks for your help, bro. Appreciate it. Hacky wavetable mode. And that's not going to sound much different, but maybe we can. Yo, we've got a wavetable maker. It's bootleg as heck, but it works. This is why the grid is sometimes super sick, because the things that you were like, I can't do that. It's like, nah, it actually can. But I guess the thing is, though, is like, I would like to actually be able to make dedicated wavetables. So everybody Dash Glitch, you can thank him by subscribing to his channel. And doing all that. That's pretty sick. But yeah, I still want the ability to actually like have a dedicated wavetable. Although I used to do this with the steps module, but Squalls is so much cleaner. You can load VST and VCV rack, much fun. Is there not a grid container for third-party plugins? There's not. Well, I mean, okay, so hold on. When it comes to the grid, this environment, no. But BITWIG I think was the first DAW to be able to, maybe VCV rack was, correct me if I'm wrong, but you could pull up anything. And if it has a CC rack, what the fuck? If it has a CC rack, then you can modulate anything. Yeah, I'm not sold on the browser, but So what you do is you just go to the little key thing here, and then you go, I don't know, where is it? Curves, macro, ramp. Here we go. We got segments here. This is the new thing, and you could map it to anything on here. So grid will actually be nice. I'm kind of send signals to plugins. Yeah, I told you new browser sucks so bad. I'm gonna give it a shot, but as of now, I don't like that it latches onto the last like category or whatever. I want it to be clean. The new browser looks awesome, much cleaner than before. Like, I think it looks cool, but I feel like the browser is remembering settings, because when I pull this up, it's latching onto categories and stuff, and I don't want it to do that. I just want it to be like, yo, like, stop it. But I mean, that's kind of, I don't think it's that bad. I think that it's a nice, like, I want to like it. You know what I mean? If you right click the browser, there's a setting, but that setting doesn't work. What does the right click thing do? I spent an hour on it trying to customize and stuff. That was your first mistake. You spent an hour in the beta. No, I'm joking, man. That's really unfortunate. I'm sorry you feel like you wasted your time. But this is kind of cool that it does have these different categories for both impulses and wavetables and whatnot. I like the browser. It's leagues above any other DAW. It is a beta. Like, that's what I was getting at. But yeah, I don't know. I'd kind of have to just see my way around this and see if I can get it to organize in a way. It's a bit different, so it might take a while, but the workflow will improve. There's a setting, remember selected filters when. It's beta. They might change things if you scream loud enough. That setting is broken. I don't want it to remember settings. I just want it to be like, I want this to be like none. I just want it to be void of anything, and I just want to be able to type in what I want, because like, I would know what I want. Which, honestly, let's just be 100% transparent here. It'd be faceplant, right? Yeah, I don't like that. I don't like when you search for this, it pulls up all the categories. That's a bit much. But you said if you right click. Oh, okay. So save snapshots. It's late, guys. I apologize. Hopefully you can give me a little bit of leeway here. The last one. I just want to dive into my collections as fast as possible. But what do you put in your collections anyways? Make a hotkey to add a faceplant. Wait, so you can hotkey to just add devices now? How do you do that? The snapshot doesn't save the screen, it saves the filters. Right, I get that, but remember selected filters when inserting audio effects. Okay, well, let's wait for them to fix that. We'll take another look at it, but let's take a look at this as well. I like that this kind of pops up in the little window thing or whatever. That's pretty sick. We can kind of just I use collections for plugin sorting. So what you're telling me is you've got way too many plugins. We could just put this on wavetable position. So and then let's just pull up a wavetable. Then we could set this to, I don't know, 8th note. Oh, that's cool. It goes back and forth like that. Oh, you have different play modes, so it's kind of like curve and faceplant. That's pretty sick. And then it will stop. Can you change the phase? Can you change the phase of this? Is this a delay? Smoothing time. That's pretty cool. Yo, what up, Frequent? Welcome, bro. How are you? So this is the first one, but what is the difference between these and the other ones? Okay, now it's bipolar. That's sick. The blue line denotes where the stop is. I see. But what I was wondering is if you can move the playhead. So like because you see where it stops, right? So I guess if we go back to this one, like where do you dictate, how do you move this? I'd like to move it. Can you modulate this? Okay, it doesn't look like you can modulate it, at least not that I know of. Yeah, I was wondering if you can modulate the phase of this. What is smoothing time? I finished up my upper body workout. I was about to hit the shower ages ago, but I started streaming. Sorry, tech. Not in segments, you can in curves. Okay, well, let's pull that up. Curves. Curvy. It's curvy. No, no, no. I need to remember to hit enter. Okay, so this little thing is kind of a similar deal, as you say. Oh, here's the phase right here. So that's dope. So if I were to change this, you can kind of move this back and forth. So if you set this to like stop in this way, the lowest it can go is 2, I guess. Can you set it to freeze? That's what I was trying to do. Oh, you just set it to off. Where's off? Oh, hold. Okay, so you set it to hold. So this is awesome. Yeah, that's fucking cool. So you can have your own curve or whatever. And this almost like, I know that they also added LFO tables, which is really cool. Don't get me wrong. But I actually think that this is even cooler because you can actually control the phase line about where this works. Wavetable LFO. Big ups. Love Wavetable LFO. That's super, super dope. Always welcome, which I think is great. Yeah, I mean, you know, I could go and modulate these things and show you all what this is, but I'm guessing that if you're here, you probably know what these things are. So they finally did it, right? But no, this thing in particular, I think is actually the low key, like sleeper hit of this one, because you can have a really cool filter movement pattern and play along with that. And then what you can do is you can actually set an LFO to modulate the phase. So kind of like this. That's money. This is money right here. And then the other thing too is that you can modulate this real time while this is going. So if you have some kind of signal playing in theory, how many LFOs does BITWIG have now? It could always use more. Never enough LFOs. But no, this is pretty fucking cool. You're giving me BITWIG envy? Bro, if you want me to give you BITWIG envy, like, we should talk about just the audio workflow. I know your music, I listen to your music, and I know you work with samples a lot, and we'll talk about the audio workflow. Because that would probably sell you on it, if anything. You should just, yeah, you should. Maybe just, you know, do a review on it and say, like, hey, would you be down to, you know, either provide me with a copy or something and do all that? That's what I did, but I ended up, like, I moved from Ableton to BITWIG thinking I just wanted to try it. And then what ended up happening was I was like, oh my gosh, this is so much for me, right? But I was like, oh my gosh, this is so much better. And it can do all the things that piss me off about Ableton so much easier. I use Ableton too. It does seem better. I mean, if anybody has any questions on like, hey, can you do this in BITWIG versus in Ableton, feel free to ask. I like answering those questions and having discussions over that. I've got some videos on comparing the two, but I'm not trying to say that it's better. It's just a matter of like, I like it better. I mean, like, that's up for you to decide though, right? Like, some people are like, I need MIDI capture, and that's a big deal. So, you know, you kind of have to evaluate that. But what I like about this is if I turn this off, it saves CPU. If I have a MIDI note like this and I want to bounce it, I can either A, hit Control B, or I can hit J. These are custom keyboard shortcuts I have, and it just bounces it. No freezing and flattening. That's probably the biggest thing. Or if you want to have a combination of both, the hybrid tracks to where you can have both audio and MIDI on the same track, I think FL Studio can do that. But like, it's really cool. And so for somebody like me, it's getting close to a done deal at this point. So much meat on BITWIG updates in comparison. Yeah, and I think the updates come more frequently compared to, no pun intended, compared to Ableton as well. You know, like, I think the thing that really started to get to me, and one of the breaking points was when Live 10 versus Live 11 came out. They had like 2 devices, and I was like, oh, well, that's cool, I guess. Like 9 to 10 was big because that gave groups within groups, but they just don't update it, or they come out with Max for Live devices and stuff, which is great, but it's like, I don't know. I've always found like Max for Live stuff to be kind of shoddy. So can you stretch it? No, you can't do that. I'm sorry, Nartsies. You can't. You still can't do that, and it makes me sad. I'm sorry. A lot of features they should have had 7 years ago. I know, right? I was just talking that they have some kind of new transient detector or whatever, but yeah, join our BITWIG sect. But no, like I like the goddamn pitch thing, the fucking pitch thing, fucking assholes, shit. Nah, wow, that was an Andre moment. Let me start over. If you are into resampling, then this is the DAW for you. If you like working with an audio, this is the DAW for you. Actually, if you like working with anything except for scale modes in the piano roll, this is probably the DAW for you because of how versatile it is. Polarity showed you can use the Wavetable LFO as an additional oscillator in Evelyn Otter synth. That's cool. I'm probably not going to show you that because I don't have that and I'm not Polarity, but if you like things and stuff, this is the DAW for you. Yeah, you can also edit audio within the clip without having to consolidate. That's absolutely true. And that's actually what brought me back to the clip launcher. So if you have a drum loop, I don't know, a classic 150. Oh, yeah. That's all you need. That's all you need. I think it always did. I think it always had audio rate. Yeah, this was always built in. So I think this was in version 1. Oh, since version 3. So yeah. So what is significant about this that I've talked about in my other videos is that you can cut and chop the audio within the clip itself without actually, working on the clip. So what this means is if you're working in the clip launcher, you don't have to go to the timeline to bounce back and forth, which is super sick. So, and not only that, but all of the audio events that are within here are actually unique. So I could pitch this one up. I could change the warp mode on this one. I don't know, whatever, Elastic Pro, and make this 2 times as fast. Then on this last one, I can add exponential rhythms to this just by checking this out. But if I was going to loop this, maybe I don't want it to go every single time, so I'm just going to set the chance of this to be at a certain percentage. Like you see where I'm going with this? So like the audio editing that you have just within a single clip is so far beyond anything else that I've used, long story short. But it seems some VSTs have a slight lag / smoothing on their modulation inputs. Nolan, would that be a big deal for you? Because that's not really even something that I know about personally. The Wavetable LFO as oscillator trick works in phase 4. Well, shit, what would you do? I mean, if it's not too complicated, we can try it. But again, it's not really my world. Okay, so we've got Wavetable LFO, but why would I use Wavetable LFO though in phase 4 if I can just use a wavetable in the grid? That doesn't make sense. Ableton literally can't do that. Put it this way, you can now modulate anything in any track. That's true too. Like, never mind everything that I just showed you with audio workflow. Everything has modulators. I don't know, do y'all have some kind of thing or some kind of relationship where you call him that? Or I don't know, I don't feel comfortable calling him that. I'd rather just call him Venus Theory or Cam. Not just modulators, global modulators. Yeah, the fill thing is pretty cool too. I don't find myself using it unless if I'm wanting to do IDM and things on chance, but I like being more deliberate these days with things as opposed to leaving things up to chance. You know what I hope that BITWIG adds in the future? Fugue machine. Have you all seen that? BITWIG, if you guys are watching this, like maybe within version 6.0 or 7.0, no other DAW can do this. In fact, only a single app on the phone can do this. But basically, a fugue machine is a multiple playhead sequencer. I'm not gonna pull my phone up right now, but that has been, I've been writing a bunch of tunes lately, and this has actually been a really helpful, just as a thing. Let me turn this off, but multiple playhead sequencer, this doesn't even exist on the computer. But look at this. This thing is so freaking useful and so cool and so fun, especially for resampling. Like if you get a granular synth and you have like a chord progression or you have a melody, but then you throw something in here that maintains the same key, this has been one of the most useful tools that I have been using, even though it's been on my phone. But I feel like something like this would fit perfectly within the BITWIG ecosystem. So I'm not trying to say steal the idea, do it your own way or do it the BITWIG way, but holy shit, has this thing been incredibly useful. I'm trying to think about what else would be good. The project modulators make it possible to set up octatrack fader effect and total transforming between tune settings on all tracks with the turn of a macro. What the fuck did you just say, bro? Can you say that in English or like be chat GPT and explain that to me like I'm 5? What is this technical sorcery? Agreed on your ecosystem comment. It's iOS only, right? I have it on my phone and will love a VST version. Yeah, it's iOS only, unfortunately. Stream at this hour? I'm game. Yo, I have so much to do up until Friday. I'm surprised Nolan came in. If you guys didn't know, Nolan is frequent and he's playing in Atlanta. I don't know if your tickets are sold out, but if anybody's in Atlanta, like, dude, go see Upscale. Go fucking see Upscale play. Which would be, yeah, I'd love to do that. And if you guys are in Oregon, I'm playing next week. Although I would, if I had to pick between playing me or playing Nolan, I'd go see Nolan. But you know, yeah, I'm surprised he's in here too. Yeah, so what else do we have that could be kind of interesting to take a look at? We also have slopes. Yeah, the transfer thing is cool. I'm really glad that they added a more customizable wave shaper. Do I miss the snapshots or the warping transient marker scrub option? P.S. Hello. Do I miss the snapshots? You mean from Ableton? No, I don't miss the warping transient marker scrub because that's included within BITWIG. So, I will say, if anybody's new to BITWIG and you're trying to make this in beats mode, don't do that. Don't do this one. So don't go here and then go to transient or go to onset preview. That's not what you want to do. What you want to do instead is, let me just reset this loop. If you click on this and you go right click quantize, it's not going to do anything. But you see, if this picks up transients like this, then what you can do is you can go slice and place. My bad. Why does this look so fucked up? Now that this is sliced, you can add individual fades to these. That is a much more controllable way to do beats mode. And this is how I found a lot more success within working in that. Now regarding your scrub thing, two things. One is you can scrub through everything together, which you can't do on Ableton. Two, if you want to warp something, then you just grab the handle on the side and you can warp everything respectively this way. So I'm going to do it on here so that we can actually see. So it doesn't make a difference whether or not you want to scrub or if you want to warp. It's the same thing. Just I think this is actually more efficient. There was something else that I was going to say about this as well. So the global modulation stuff is massive. Been hoping for that for a long while. The ability to change multiple elements in a track via some simple controls will be incredible for performance. So, okay, correct me if I'm wrong, but does that mean that you can just use one modulator, say like on your master track, and have it modulate stuff like outside across multiple? Yeah, okay, that seems like what that is. So that's a good point. Thank you for bringing that up. So what this means is if you go into your project here and you have a random, right? Well, I can go into this. I'm going to delete all these things. that's really fucking cool, is you can use one randomizer to randomize this. And then on that same randomizer, which you couldn't do before, we can go and grab something like, I don't know, fuck it, drum machine, but we can use that same modulator to modulate something else. And then on another track, we can use that same modulator to, you know, fucking trigger our cowbell and change the pitch of that. But it's only one modulator, where beforehand, the modulators, you could only do it on a per track basis, and even outside of that, it was per device container. So now that you actually have true global modulators, that means that you can use one single, can we come up with another word for modulators, because I sound like a fucking broken record, but you can just use one device to control all these other different parameters. So that's freaking cool. Project managers control multiple modulators too. Yeah, so if you want to have like a global filter on things, or only on certain devices, like that's really cool. And I think that I am not prepared to show you all how cool that is, but give me some time, maybe like a month or so, to try to come up with stuff like that. And I think that's going to be really freaking cool, not only for sound design, but also for composition as well, just because it's streamlined. And even for performance, that is one thing, but also off the means of, I don't know, I could see myself doing that. Like if you're trying to create like a transition rack or something. Did you see the modulating of the tempo? Yeah, that was the first thing that I did, was the modulation of the tempo. So I can show you guys that again if you want, but, and this is really freaking cool. Can we audio rate modulate the BPM? I'm sure we can. You can. What is that gonna do? I don't know. But hey, yo, what time is it over there? It's 2:40 in the morning. 2:40 in the morning. But like I said, I don't have a lot of time to cover this tomorrow, because I'm trying to finish up some tunes for this set. So tomorrow I'm going to be doing production and just trying to cram in stuff before NAMM. But anywho, so let me show you guys this. This is really cool. If you go random, yo Zane, how are you, bro? If we go into this and modulate the BPM of this now, then this is going to change both shorter and faster. So let's just do like a 16th note thing. But I'm kind of curious as to what the master, does it still have a master thing around 85 BPM if you change the modulation? I think that's, I guess it would, because we're not automating it, we're modulating it. Yeah, this seems to be pretty consistent. Okay, so anyways, when you play this, this is what you get. That's really cool. So what I was talking about with the beginning of this just came out of load shedding like about an hour ago. That sucks, man. I feel so bad like that you have to deal with shit like that. That's so stupid. So one thing that I think is really significant about this is if you were to, let's just pull up a generator. If you have something that has other modulators that are bound by time, and what I mean by that is something like this, where these randomizers are going to be playing based off of synchronization, then what that means is all of the movement that you have within these, you know, generators or something of the sort, or effect racks, if you will. Infiltrator is a great example of this as well. I was talking to Weaver about this earlier when he first came into the stream, and I guess the rest of chat, but now the movement with these racks are going to be captured within this. So this isn't on. I got to turn this on. Sorry. That is so cool. this is an amazing way to come up with like cool glitch sounds and stuff. Just the tempo. But because we're modulating the tempo and you have this synced to these via tempo here, then whenever it plays faster and slower, it's all kind of lined up together, right? So what I would recommend, because one thing I don't know that's going to come about from this is how to capture that. Well, let's just see what happens, because I don't know how this is going to play out. So let me turn this off now, because this might be there might be a caveat to this. Okay, so what you're gonna have to do is, if you resample this, you have to set this to raw, because otherwise it's not gonna have all the movement and stuff. Well, I was gonna get there, but not everybody has rolling sampler. Okay, so it is possible. So what you would do is you would resample this and then just turn the warping off, because you're still modulating this. But if you do have rolling sampler, then what you do is you just pull this up and then hit play and have a good day. That was so cool. Like, I'm getting so many ideas off of this. Man. If anybody's interested in these racks, I sell them for Snap Heap and Phase Plant and stuff. Yeah. And then I've also got a review on rolling sampler. But look, we just pull it out. So yay. Hey Canwell, how's it going, man? But this is pretty incredible. It doesn't seem all that big until you actually jump in, and then you're like, oh wow, this could do that, holy shit. And not everybody's going to use it for this case, you know. Like, if you're like a synth pop maker that doesn't do any kind of resampling or anything, then this might not be that cool to you. But just showing the possibilities about getting some really cool sound. And what I like is that it gave my tools that I use a new purpose, and that's always inspiring. It's kind of like the LFO for Ableton. Well, some of the stuff is, or Shaper, or rather, I think is what is called for the Max for Live device. But what this is doing is I have a randomizer on the tempo now, and from changing the tempo or the BPM, it's speeding things up and slowing it down while still capturing the warping of the sample. So you're getting this really cool interaction between everything going fast and slow. Like, I wouldn't call it granular by any means, even though like you could argue that, but where you can assign it to any parameter. Yes, but now it's on the whole project. So as opposed to it just being on a device like BITWIG has always had, you can do it on almost anything in the project. One thing that I would still like that unfortunately you can't do is you can't modulate parameters inside of the inspector control. So I would like to be able to modulate things over on this side, although it's not too different, I guess. The big thing was the tempo, and I think they took that idea and was like, yeah, that would be dope. But Ableton's LFO can do that. I didn't know that. But I still would like to be able to modulate some of the stuff within here. Maybe not everything, but maybe the stretch mode, or maybe like the pitching and the panning and stuff, I think would be nice. Sorry, let me catch up with chat. Shaper mapping is absolute outgrade, and the parameter is mapped. Did I miss something? I'm in live chat. As good as the new functionality is, I don't think it's worth a new version of it. It should be 4.5. You don't think so? I think that this is a pretty significant change. I think that the overhaul of the modulation system is very significant, especially for what it can do. I think that, like, I saw, unfortunately, and you can't make everybody happy, but like, some people were like, great, now just add this. Like, great, just now add this. And it's like, you know, that's what you're here for. That's what we're all here for, is like, is this worth it to you? I think personally that there's a lot of really cool stuff beyond just the MSEG that is really cool. But now we can finally make kicks and snares and claps. Bro, if you want to learn how to do that, you just got to hang around the channel. I'll teach you how to do that in 10 minutes. I hope it's closer to the way that FL does it. What do you mean by that? And also, did I lose? No, it's still here. I mean, we have new devices, we have new oscillators, we have new modulators, we have, yeah, probably 5 minutes. We have new, we have a new overhaul of the clip launcher. We've got a new system for the way that the modulators work. Like, the new browser is not everyone's favorite, which I understand, but like, what else? Like, I don't know. I think it's pretty dope. And I like this too. This is one thing that I think is super fucking cool, that it's got all of these parameters built in per track if it has something on there. So if you're working within the clip launcher or something, yeah, BITWIG users eating good today. Modulation is not delay compensated. If you have plugins with latency in your track, they run out of sync. That's why you bounce everything to audio. But I think that even still, like if you're just running native BITWIG or like native BITWIG instruments, but yeah, I guess that works. Then like it's fine, and there's delay compensation as well. Leave the browser as is, give us collection colors, done. I think people wanted something very specific, and I covered that in my BITWIG wish list, and I remember talking about it. I just don't remember why I talked about it, so forgive me. But yeah, so like if you've got some clips or whatever working within this, I'm going to turn this off because my partner's asleep and I'm going to try not to be too loud, but you got a few different things here on different tracks. So I'll just put this here and whatever. What I like about this is if you have effects on here, then you can essentially have a list of these. Confirm. Or how do I get this to pull up? Does anybody know? Is it in the clip launcher or is it in the mixer? But how do I get to that window? One of the pet peeves of BITWIG was a sample browser. I don't know anything about the modulation. I hope it's something of which is my favorite. How does FL's modulation system work? Now we just need the ability to modulate the dots in the MSEG and the additive synthesis and morphing between wave shapes. You can on curves. We just talked about that. So if you use the curves, then you can modulate. Oh, you mean the points? Okay, sorry. Yeah, okay, that's fair. But you might as well just do a randomizer then. Like at a certain point, like the movement becomes more and more abstract anyways. But at least with this, you can modulate the point or like where the playhead is. So if you set this to hold, then you can change the phase of this, which is cool, which is not modulating the points, but the fact that you can do this not only in real time, but also be able to kind of like have this follow a trigger that kind of moves along the phase. You can transition where the phase moves along is pretty freaking cool. So you can modulate that as well. So you can set a randomizer to modulate the point of that, and then really like you're going to be getting the same thing. I think, what else do I want from BITWIG? I can't really think of a whole lot else. I mean, it's pretty comprehensive. I would like them to change the repitching of samples, so that way we can actually just repitch this in a way that is not via tempo. But I don't know. Other than that, I guess maybe we'll have to go back and like rewatch my BITWIG feature wish list or something. I think I actually still have a bunch of them written down. Let me see if I do. Hold on 1 second. Let me type this in. I can't pull this up because I've got some sensitive information on here, but video plan, bells, BITWIG devices. Let me see if I still have the BITWIG wish list. No, I don't. Okay, I don't have that in my notes anymore, but I do have a video on stuff that I was hoping that they would add in the future. Are you sure modulation isn't compensated? You can modulate everything, but you can't customize the browser. Bro, okay, we get it, the browser. is not your favorite. Sometimes I feel like bitwiggers are unnecessarily neurotic. I fit in that category, or I don't know, but I'm not sure what you mean, what connotation you have about that, but I feel attacked. I'm just kidding. Do scripts like randomizer still work? Is the BITWIG API reference updated as well? Bro, I don't know. I don't know what that means. I don't even... what? I need you to explain this to me like I'm 5, because even though I would consider myself to be a sound designer, I don't know everything on a level like that. Hey Killian, how are you, bro? But yeah, how do I get to those parameters? Does anybody know how you pull that out? I know that you can pull it up over on the left, which I guess we just go over here and then we go to click on the chorus maybe. No, even that's not working. So would it be in the mixer tab? We are in the mixer tab. We need to go to the clip launcher. Yeah, I'm still trying to figure out how to get there. Scene 1. Scene 2. Nah, even still, it doesn't pull up. So how do we find this? Right hand side. Okay, hold on. Project-wide, alt-triggered gestures, all in one place, blah, blah, blah. Now that tracks have their own remotes, the mixer offers a bird's eye view of your most important parameters. That way you can build and customize a set and mix of controls. This is really interesting to me, and this is what I'm looking for. But where the heck is it? Oh, it would be on this side. Okay. A, B. Yes. This is super cool. Yeah, okay, I like this a lot, because although that's kind of weird that this isn't pulling up. Anything over here? I guess we can just map stuff on here if we wanted to, so we can be like this thing doesn't really matter or whatever by clicking on the chorus. But what's really cool about this is a really amazing way to like just set a couple of things up without having to like go through each track or whatever. But because this is all on one panel on one window, I'm sorry. Again, it's late, guys. Because this is all on one panel, oh my god, on one fucking window, I'm sorry. We can set some of this stuff up on here that once we have all of these tagged, and I'm just going to set up a few just for like a specific use case, and we're not even making any sound or whatever, right? So I apologize. But once we have something like that, then we can go to the project here and we can modulate all these on the same thing. That's so cool. So we could move all of these and use a single modulator to control all of those just on one, like we can set up these remote controls and stuff to dish this out. And this is a super like easy to use workflow here, because now I don't have to go and change the tracks, or I don't have to go and dive into each track rather. So normally what we would have to do is we'd have to go here and then click on this, right? And then go into this modulator and put it in the tank effects, and then make sure that this modulator now can control that. And on the older versions of BITWIG, like it wasn't bad, but it was definitely like time consuming. But being able to do this and setting our macro page up like this is so much easier to be able to do, just by using the mixer panel. And sorry, that's the clip launcher. From having all this stuff, and we can scroll down and I guess like have up to 8 things, which I guess it would be kind of cool. Oh, you have pages, right? I think we do anyways, where we can just set different pages up and whatnot. But yeah, how sick is that? That's freaking nice. Pages. I don't know how to find that, but we'll figure it out. The meter thing is cool. That's sick. I didn't know you. I didn't even know some of this stuff existed. What is this? What am I looking at here? Oh, large clip height. Okay. Show comments. Yeah, that's dope. I didn't know that. There's a huge gap right here, which is kind of weird. It'd be kind of cool, I guess, if I could. Okay, there we go. We need chonkers. So yeah, there's that. Let's take a look at this other stuff that we got. All right, we're skipping this for now. So there's a new key track modulator, and there's a Wavetable LFO. Would 16 parameters per page not be better? I think it would be, but like you have to realize that, how do I say this? Like there's only so much real estate, so you're gonna have to scroll anyways. You might as well just flip the page anyways. You know, it doesn't, I guess it doesn't, it's kind of insignificant. One thing that I would like to see them is I want them to add a couple more effects. So I love that they added a dedicated wave shaper. Why did they only put it in the grid? That's an odd choice. Just like how they did with all the other distortion units. I don't, yeah, exactly, save space. I don't know why they do that, which it's not even a big deal, but it's just kind of like an odd omission. I'm like, why, bro? I don't like that I have to pull up a device to open up another device. That's not very fun. Like, look at how many different kinds of distortion, or bye-bye speed of GUI, yeah. Like, look how many different kinds of distortion are in here. These are only specific to the effects grid. Make a device preset. Bro, I know you're right, but why not just make a device? You know what I'm saying? Like, just make it a device. Preset search in the same browser now. Yeah, I get it. But I still just make it a device. Oh, which you just reminded me. Thank you. So this is what I want to see in the future of BITWIG. I would like to see them have the ability to obviously like make like a third-party container or something, and being able to save containers within the grid I think would be super important. So like if you go and you go through the trouble of building like a custom-made compressor or a rack or something that's kind of like this, being able to pull up this rack and copy this into another effects patch would be extremely useful for people that are doing that, because now you have to think about it. Like if you were to, I guess you can do it from like, you can open up a patch and then copy it and then move it to another patch. But the problem with that is like, again, it's just kind of efficiency. We don't have delay. Oh, we do have delay, but we don't have reverb in the grid. You have to use all pass filters in order to make it. So you can make it, but it's not like true reverb, I don't believe. Yeah, you got to make it. So, you know, or there's no compression either. And I know that there's supposed to be this duality between working this way and also the grid, but like you have to keep in mind, like it kind of, yeah, like mini grids, right? So being able to just save this as like I think a container, like a grid container, I think would be the way to do that. Yeah, grid configurations as mini presets, so you can pull up a chain of modules into a new grid preset. That's what I'm saying. Wave shaper is the new compressor. I guess you could probably use the clipper. Having a dedicated clipper would be nice, but I think the biggest thing that I would like to see is a change in the device layout. And that could be either through the grid or it could be through a semi-modular thing. I think that they've kind of already like, how do you say this? Already kind of like conceptualize this, I guess, with Polymer. But I would love the ability to, basically, you guys, I want the multi-pass workflow in my DAW. That's what I want. I want racks and lanes, and I want the ability to right-click something like this, and instead of having all this shit to search with a browser and all that, which I think is cool, you know, don't get me wrong, the browser's cool, but working this way is not, I don't do it anymore. And it's not because I'm too good for it, it's just really inefficient. So this is why Snap Heap and Multipass are so powerful and useful, because if I were to pull something up like that, per se, maybe if I can find it. I don't know, just Multipass, dude, come on. Why does it do that? Okay, yeah, this is not just multi-pass. Thank you. Yo, good night, dude. I'll see you soon. So I want this workflow in BITWIG. Click, here's all my effects. Click, here's all my effects. It's just routed into that, and I can move within this in this semi-modular lane in this way. This is the fastest workflow for sound design I have ever run into. But this is what the future is, I believe, at least as far as semi-modular and efficiency. And when you think about doing this compared to being only on a single lane that only works horizontally, this is pretty much why I almost only exclusively sound design within the kilohertz ecosystem, because the layout of this is so much more efficient than anything else. I think that it was cool for the time that BITWIG kept that same workflow that Ableton had. Hey, Carl, good to see you, bro. But now I think that if you were to be able to open this up and just have like right click and then go lanes and then be able to work in that way, it totally makes sense to me. If you think about it in the same way that you have the piano thing and how you got these different layouts here, being able to change this, like this is what I think the this is what I think the sound design thing should be like, is just getting away from the horizontal workflow. Is the horizontal workflow? Well, okay, so to be fair, I think that it's better because you can have an infinite amount of inserts, say compared to something like FL Studio, right? Where like you're limited to this many, but then you have to send another bus and then do it over here. But now that you know, I guess time has passed, I think that if you could, again, open this up, yeah, safe flight, dude. You can open this up and then you can be able to move these in between, or like right click and then go 3 lanes, 4 lanes, or go parallel split or something like that. That would make the device layout immensely more powerful. And all you have to do is just like hit expand or something, you know. A vertical layout would have been quite exciting. Well, yeah, as long as you don't have to like fuck with the routing though, right? That was the biggest thing that I didn't like from Reason. More powerful or easier to understand? Sorry, what was your question? Because you can still do all those things. I loved that. A new type of grid called lanes. Yeah, BITWIG would completely supersede its Ableton, but slightly different label if it worked this way, because it made me feel smart. Wait, what? I do improvise live patching with the band if I try a lot of software, and kilohertz is by far the fastest. Yeah. But even still, and like it, you know, they could do it the BITWIG way too, but if you look at Polymer, it's already like they've already started that idea. This is oh, God damn it. Sorry guys, I keep just clicking on this, but I'm not used to this. But this is already semi-modular, so you can right click this and replace these. But what if you could expand this into a free lane, so that way you weren't just limited to oscillator, filter, envelope, sub, and all that. It was a fully, you know what I mean? These devices could be replaced with anything. That's something that I miss too, is the video implementation. I really miss doing sound design to gaming, like to video game scenes, and I still have to use Ableton for that. Yeah, it's more of a hinder than help, which, I mean, if you get that, then you like, I think that it makes you a way better sound designer, and it teaches you so much. But the learning curve of like taking the stuff and all that, yeah, exactly, is a pain. And I think that like, because Reason chose to stick to their guns, like it's actually hurting them in the long run, as opposed to just be like, dude, just give me a fucking drop down menu and go sidechain. But what can you say? So yeah, I think that is the biggest thing. But I mean, if you think about it, a lot of the stuff that I requested, they put in here in some way or another. So let me go into BITWIG wishlist Alckemy. We're not going to watch this, but I'm just going to see if I pulled up. I think I have a list that I made here, and we can kind of check to see. if they kind of address some of these. And you guys had some really good suggestions in the comments as well. But, you know, oh, here we go. Okay. This one was the first one. Yay. Not only did they give us 1, but they gave us 5. So make the effects 2 and effects 3 a frequency splitter. So that would be cool. Device workflow overhaul, vertical outlook, just like kind of like Polymer. Okay, so that's what I was talking about. Modules in the grid as standalone devices. So this is what I was talking about from before, like with the distortion units and what's it called? And some other unique stuff that's only found within the grid, which is kind of baffling to me. Replace macros with macro modulators. More operators, more MIDI functionality, hashtag Fugue Machine, and BITWIG win. Fugue Machine, dude, that would be such a game changer. Sample tag browser improvement. We asked for it and we got it. Humanize law, revisit note effects. That's in there too. Warp modes, they didn't really change that, but the preview, they did look at changing, or they did improve the audio stuff on that. Adding pitch change to read pitch mode, we still don't have that. Modulate some inspector controls, we don't have that, but we did get the project, which I think is cool. We don't have MIDI comping. Quantize audio as a single right click, so as opposed to doing the cut it up and then whatever. Slicing feature to the sampler, there's a workaround to that. I don't remember who it is, but that would be cool. Actually, I bought VidPlay, VST for video, but you can't cut the clips there, and that's why I don't have it. That's why I don't do it, because it's like it's hard to work with the audio in itself and then cut the clips up on their own right. But I mean, guys, if you think about this, like most of the major things that we asked for, you know, and this isn't my list. I mean, some of it's mine, but like, you know, so some smaller things, I guess, which we didn't really get a whole lot of, is colors and themes, which is the new meme. Before it was MSEG, and now it's we still don't have anything other than orange, funnily enough. A wavetable maker, I think, would be super useful. You can make Fugue Machine in Note Grid if you set the polyphony and modulate the voices in sequence. Dude, I think you should do a video on that, because I think that would be super useful. I've made like 6 tracks the past month, and all of the main loops have been conceptualized from the Fugue Machine. Polarity did a Fugue Machine video. Okay, well, I'll check that out. Maybe you can link it in the Discord or something. One point to really improve the browser would be the addition of a proper fuzzy search. For example, if I want to use M-Wave Shaper, I cannot just type wave and find it. I need to write M-Wave, polarity OP. So the Fugue Machine is a multiple playhead sequencer. So it's just MIDI, but then you have these playheads that are consistently like moving back and forth. It's super fucking cool. It's so cool, man. I love that thing. I use it on everything. So you need to know how the plugin starts. Yeah, we had quite a few people kind of come into that and talk about this stuff. Combine FM and wavetable synth. So I do think this would be a good thing too, is instead of having all these different oscillators, just combine it into a single one. So that way you can actually just do, yo, Markov, thanks so much for coming in, bro. I really appreciate it. I feel like I first heard a Fugue Machine in Reactor, I'm guessing. It's like a tape with multiple playheads that you can customize. I'll pull it up in just a second, but forced duplication, I don't remember what that is. Dude, rainbow macros, I missed this. Do you guys remember that in BITWIG 3? Ah, man, that was so cool. I think like I love those things, like having the multicolor kind of things like how we do in EQ Plus. Like that was such a vibrant and like cool thing to work with. Third-party VST grid. I think we talked about it on this. This is an old video. But I think what I was talking about with this in particular was with the effects splitters, like as opposed to having FX2 and FX3, I think what I was asking for is instead of like one device and then a third device, like just make it a splitter. So that way you can add as many as you want. I think that's what I was going for in this. But what I was talking about with the horizontal workflow is that in order for me to work in between this, I have to close one or the other tabs, which is really frustrating. So if I want to work within the low, I got to click on the low. And then if I want to click on the high, I got to click on the high. And it's like, dude, honestly, these are such small things. These are such small things. And then like working within Drambo and then coming back to BITWIG is honestly like a godsend. And even working in Ableton compared to BITWIG is honestly like a godsend. But I guess these are things of like, hey, here's how we can make this even more efficient, because that's what it's about, right? It's about writing with speed and efficiency and not having to like go through multiple fucking windows just to get to one thing. Ableton's audio effects are a bit better. I think some of them are. I don't think all of them are though. It matters though. Look at me complaining about the browser, but it does affect your workflow. No, I get it, but at this point, it's like you, Alperp, you've been heard. You've been heard on the browser. It's wonky. I think that I really like the presentation of it, but I don't like some people said, that I can't just type in some things and then it just pulls up, kind of like how we used to be able to do. Now it kind of has all these like weird things that it remembers, and I don't want it to do that. Ableton's effects aren't that better. What effects do I miss from Ableton the most? Probably just the saturator, because it has a soft clipper on it. I think that's like, if we're all being honest here, that's that is the most useful tool. If you all are wondering about like, I made a video on this, but if you're worried about like grain delay or something, then what you do is you make a delay. Sure, we can do delay too. It really doesn't matter what kind of delay. And then you make a pitch shifter, which is not included, but it is at least possible to have access to it without having to open up your wallet. But what you do is you group these, and then you add an XY pad. And I've got a short on this, but from here you add your X stuff to the time, kind of like so. I'll just make this like super dramatic. And then on this one, you do pitching all the way up. And then what you do is you move this all the way here. And then we can even move the grain size kind of up and down as well. So essentially what you're doing is you're creating, well, exactly what it sounds like is you're creating a grain delay. So if we were to put that on something like this and we start to move this around, and this isn't exact, but this is just one way to do it, or to get close anyways, is you turn the mix on all the way up, and this is the overall dictator of the mix. But yeah, you just it's very similar. It's almost the same thing. And then like you can get super granular with it, no pun intended, if you wanted to, but like it's not that hard to make. Check out Polyverse Supermodel 2 for weird resonator stuff. The delay works like a mixer effects from Pioneer. I love it. Live doesn't have this. Sounds like the tears of Ableton. Sweet, salty tears. But no, there are some things that I do miss from Ableton. The saturator with the clipper, I think, is really important. I think like the reason why I particularly miss that one so much is because it's like one of the key ingredients into making just like really fucking huge drums. Like OTT, I don't really care about that. Multiband dynamics, I don't really care about that. The glue compressor is nice. There's at least an alternative, which does cost money, but it is nice. The BITWIG native plugin saturator and stuff is more in depth with insane ability to modify with more modes. I just wish it would clip. I just want it to clip. That's all I care about. BITWIG is more synth than DAW, and it's awesome. I think it's a healthy mix between the two. Like if you want to do a hardware approach, it's got something for that. If you want to compose in MIDI, it's got a crazy amount of stuff to compose within MIDI, especially now within the note grid. If you want to do modular, it's got that. If you want to do set the knee and saturator to 0 and it clips, we're going to test that here in a second. Clipify doesn't seem to work well. Yeah, like I'm talking about like pushing it to extreme, but I'm going to take you up on that challenge here in just a second. Yeah, I'm going to. Give me just 1 second though. What was I talking about? If you want to work with an audio, BitWig has the best audio workflow. Period. Sorry. Doesn't the compressor in BitWig have a clipper? I don't think so. So you were saying saturator. You set the knee to 0. Okay, so if you're telling me that if I were to drive the shit out of this, it's not gonna clip. Then pull the level down. So the line is parallel. Or percentage. Where's the percentage? So all the way down? You can even reverse clip? Yikes. That sounds really scary. Nah, bro, we're getting clipping. No, I have it down so we can see the wave. Oh, okay. Yeah, that's a good point. Hold on 1 second. Oh no, I've already got one on the master. Hold on. Okay. So what we'll do is we'll just grab a sine wave. We'll just use FM4. Shout out to this being able to paste this. This is an amazing tool. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna grab a saturator now, and we change the knee to 0, and then we change, what do we change the percentage to? Let me check the DC filter. I think it's on. It should be off. The DC filter would be where? To minus 100%. Okay, so it's already there. Whoa. Oh, that went back to normal after a double click. I didn't know that it does that now. So now this is parallel, and if we were to boost the drive of this, I mean, it made it more quiet. Hey Sono. Next to loud, you have a parameter for variance. This one. Turn that to 0 also. That's the skew. This is the loud threshold. Where's the variance? Quiet ratio. Quiet threshold. Now it's clip. Well, what is this? What is this shape? That was it. I was gonna say there should be a preset for it. It changes the sound though. It does change the sound. And it changes it initially as well. The preset is crap. Clipify or something. Yeah, I don't think that it does true clipping. Okay, there we go. That is hard clip. Well, in the beginning it is, but after that, what is it doing? Because I don't have any change on this, so it's clipping at the beginning, but now it's just going here. How much different would it just pushing the BitWig saturator into a separate clipper than be having a soft clip option on the saturator? It'd be an extra step, a few extra clicks. It's next to the other knob besides the first thing. Set that to -0. next to the other node besides the first thing. What are you talking about? Wait, what? Sound has an envelope? No, it's just, there's zero attack on this. Is there something else on the master that's making it do that? There's not. This is just a sine wave. Don't listen to me. I've never used BITWIG. No, I mean, I'm trying to understand what you're saying, but yeah, it's confusing. It's very confusing. But I mean, initially you can see it clipping, but now it's not. I don't know what to tell you. I don't think it does what it says it does. For anybody else, I recommend this one, the Eventide Saturate. Oh, I don't like that it pulls up presets too. Just device. All devices. Just the devices, bro. No, shouldn't this sort by device? What just happened? Just saturator, bro. This is what I would recommend. Because what will happen is that's what we're looking for. Well, that's what I clicked, but it didn't pop up. So when I search for this, I set this, see it's on category, and I set this on device, and then I set this to, but I'm still getting presets. Yeah, look, I'm still getting presets though. Left. Still getting presets. So I guess you just have to go into the plugin thing. But what, like, typically before that, I didn't have to do that. I could just go boom. But if I have that saved on plugins, I guess maybe that will pull that up. I like this. This is cool. I just don't get it. Yeah, it goes back to this, and I think that's a bug. I don't think that it's supposed to do that, but I think that's a bug. So, but I guess, yeah, I can go there and go there. Did I check the other section? No, I didn't. You told me to ignore you, so I followed your orders, bro. I was trying to follow directions in the way that you had requested, but I don't know. Maybe somebody will come to the rescue and figure that out. But anyways, I'm convinced that it doesn't, and I could be wrong, but I mean, it says it's at 0 dB, but what happens if I were to turn this off? Yeah, I bet polarity would know. Okay, hold on. Before I kill us all, let's be reasonable here. The browser on the right didn't change. Can't see it. No, the browser on the right did not change, and I'm not mad about it. But this is just, I only use the right browser just for samples. That's just like the way that I kind of work, but okay, ready? Well, I guess it, yeah, it did. Okay, it did. I mean, it's clipping. You need to thromdimbulate the flux capacitors first. Everybody, we owe Dash Glitch an apology. Because it's clipping. I don't like that this 0 is red. That just bothers me. Sorry, Glash. But it's clipping. There's some new fresh icons though. Looks like they've already started working on more UI updates. I mean, for the most part, look at that sausage. Oh, you can't see it. Look at this shit. Sorry, Glash. One thing that I do like about the browser is I just like the icons, and I like this. This looks really nice to me. This reminds me of something from like the MPC, like from the sounds or something, if you all have worked with that. Wait, let me move this over because that's not helpful if it's being covered by the camera, but I do like this. Like this is cool. This feels very modern to me. And it also feels more inviting to play. You know, it's like, oh, keys. I got all these to play with, or, you know, whatever. But I do like this. This is cool. I don't know what Kicks 2 is. I like that it has locations and stuff, and I think if they fix the browser to where it just remembers, like, because for me, I'm only going to use plugins, I'm only going to use either plugins or note effects. Which, hold on, if I type in amp, yeah, I don't like that. Okay, so here's the problem that I have with this. Back then, back in the day, so version 4.5, if you just type in any device, it'll pop up. Whereas with this, you actually have to do another click to go into the proper category to find what you want to go to. And I don't like that. They need to let us organize our own presets. Visual approach is so much better to me. Yeah, visually it's really cool, but functionality wise, I don't like that I have to go and click into these categories. I just want to be able to type in whatever it is that I want and have that pull up or like filter out the presets and stuff, because I only want the devices. But what's interesting is, even if you type in devices here and I were to type in you know, all devices, which it still pulls up presets, and I don't like that. Is there a right click menu like in the old browser to set standards? There's something like this. Should hide redundant plugins, should include legacy content. Yeah, it says remember selected filters when inserting audio effects, but there's a bug that this doesn't do that. The old browser was great, IMO, one of the best things about BitWig, but yeah, maybe they'll fix this one. Give us a random button for the presets. That's not a bad idea. What would the snowflake icon do? I think the snowflake icon is everything, or the asterisk or whatever. Yeah, I think that goes into everything, but even still, like, I'm trying to just like flesh this into just devices. I just want the devices. Yeah, okay, 45 devices. But stop. Yeah, low-key, I don't think it's meant to be like this. No, it doesn't. Dude, no, here's the thing. I'm clicking on devices and I'm still hitting the search function and I'm getting the wrong search stuff. That's the problem I have. I'm only searching for devices right now, but I'm getting things that are outside of devices. That's what I'm saying. Now I could turn my grid into phase plan almost. It's a big deal. Yeah, it's close for sure. I think like, oh, it's a bug then. Yeah, that's what I was saying. I mean, because if I could just do that, then nothing really changes. I just search for devices and see 3,000 presets. Yeah. Did I click on why you do this to me, Yoku? You realize it's a beta. I do, but part of doing the beta is knowing when something isn't working correctly and just making a note of it. So, and you also have to understand that bugs aren't always that obvious. So we're just figuring this out as we go, right? Just let us customize the browser. Yeah, just send them feedback. Yeah, and I'm sure they'll see this at some point and be like, oh, okay, there's that. What about tags? I think you can make your own tags. Sorry about that. But yeah, I think you can make your own tags. Here you go. Although it doesn't look like you can create your own tags, but you can use the tags. Might be by tomorrow they'll probably have it fixed. How do you send feedback? Well, I'll send them an email, but you can't edit categories? Why? Oh no, you can't. Well, I think that's what creator stuff is, or sorry, there's that's what collections are for, aren't they? How easy is it to migrate your sample library and tags to a new machine? I don't know. I don't have anything. I don't have anything like that. Someone messaged them and posted on Twitter. Does anybody know? Okay, do global modulators work on groups to do more precise and more robust modulations? Yes, they do. And every time, you guys know the globals modulator? I need to I feel like I have to teach myself what those are every 6 months because I never use them. But what was... Oh, okay, got it. All right, never mind. I don't have to teach myself what that is. It's pretty self-explanatory. Okay. Timbre something. The bug will be fixed if it's a bug. Yeah, and that's what I was saying. I didn't know if it was a bug or not. So if it's not a bug, I think it's a bug. But if it's not a bug, I don't like that because I just want to search for my devices. If it is a bug, then it'll be fixed and then I'll have nothing to complain about. But it's definitely not working properly. I like that for some reason we all still went back to the fucking browser.
Recording to logbook.
Yo, Skern Music, thanks so much for following, dude. I really appreciate it. So, I don't know, maybe what we can do is some kind of performance thing or something and see if maybe we can fuck around. And I think I'll just take your advice or take your suggestions, but let's go ahead and pull up a project and just see if it's going to do anything cool. Let's do kilogram because it doesn't work. Yo, Zane, I sent this tune to Tomas. He didn't like it. I'm kind of sad about it. But wait, was this the one that I was gonna send to him, or was this the one that I sent to him? Yeah. Okay. He didn't like this tune. I'm sad. It's just a click and drag. So if you have an audio clip and you're in your browser, then you can just literally replace it. Said that it's too slow and he said it's very grindy. Yeah. I don't know. It's okay. He doesn't like it, but whatever. Joe. Yeah, that's I think what we're going to do first, but I just want to give you all like a listen of what this is. I like this tune. This is one of my favorite tunes I've made. Yeah, so anyways, let's do that. Let's randomize the tempo here. Thank you guys. I appreciate it. Yo, what up, Avin? Yeah, I like it too. Good job. It might be a little bit empty and needs some like filler stuff, but love the uniqueness. Thanks, Gio. Let's do half note, and let's put this on. I heard a bit of this when I started the other night. Great work. I only put one. I think this was like a 2-session thing, but I don't know. I thought it was cool. This is awesome. What is deadbeats? So let's set these to sync. Is that a label? Oh. Yeah. Is that a label? Obviously. He won't be able to complain about the tempo if it's constantly changing. You guys are funny. Okay, you guys ready? Let's see what this sounds like. Oh, Zed's dead. I didn't know that. That's so cool. This is awesome. If anybody's interested in these presets, I sell them on Alckemy.com. Man, yeah. I mean, you got to be patient with it, but like if you wait a bit and you're recording this, like there's some cool shit to be had in here for sure. I'm gonna make this a little bit more dramatic. Yeah, like it's not quite granular, but it has a lot of like just a, I don't know, what would you even call this? It's really freaking cool is what it is, but Well, yeah, but the thing is, it's the playback engine that changes it from being actual granular. Right. It is, but it isn't. Like, you could argue that a delay is somewhat granular because of the way that it takes little fragments of audio, but it doesn't have the playback engine in the same way. It sounds like time stretching. It doesn't sound like that to me because, like, and not only that, but you're changing the time and the tempo of the LFOs that are moving together, right? So because you're automating or modulating the LFOs of the effects, but it's affecting the entire thing as a tempo, like it does sound like time stretching. But it says it seems like a little bit more than that, right? It seems like it's cool because it's almost like it's like a synthesis of digital and audio playback stuff, which I think is really cool. If it's in MIDI, it doesn't make that big of a difference, but like I think that if you have some kind of audio clip or something in particular, it's going to make a much bigger impact, or a much bigger, the effects are going to be much more dramatic because you're literally breaking a sample, whereas MIDI is just going to be like play faster, play slower, you know. But it's still going to be in MIDI, so it doesn't really, like, it's not that significant. Segment of audio as delay does, it distributes at different intervals instead of taking the whole audio. Right, yeah. That is so awesome. I'm taking all this shit. Yeah, it's pretty much G codes. Like, you can even take this sound right here. I'm gonna take that over here, and then I'm gonna stop because I'll just spend all day listening to this. But if you were to take something like this here, we can pretty much create like a crazy horn thing. Maybe it wasn't that. Maybe it was more so over here. There was one of those in here that was making some cool sounds. Was it this guy? There it is. So if you were to add distortion to this, say with something like this, and then you were to do something like crystalline, maybe without the ducking, or maybe make it big. There are more time stretching algos. Ableton is still king at that. I mean, there's literally nothing compared to the same algorithm from Zplane. Bro, they're the same ones. They're the same. Dude, they're the same algorithms. What are you talking about? They're the exact same algorithms. They don't sound the same, but they're the same ones. Now, maybe if I were to pitch this down. Happen if I use a pitch shifter on this to... This is not turning out how I thought it would, but I thought it would be super cool to... Okay, that's cool. So what happens if you take another pitch shifter and then turn that down. Up early, playing with new toys. Well, this is the only time that I really had to stream, because tomorrow we're going to be making beats, and then I guess I'll be off Thursday. I'm going to go train, and then Friday I'm going to California. So like my time that I have in the next couple weeks is very short. That Ableton don't give a fuck about their users. Sounded like GTA. You died for a sec. Maybe if we tried the other pitch shifter, or maybe even a different distortion like a wave shaper or something, that could be cool. Because it's on the right track, but California. Yeah, I'm going to NAMM Friday. As I said, they're the same oh yeah, I'm sorry, I didn't see you say that. Is on another level. You can change the speed or pitch like crazy. It will still sound natural. Hot take. But, you know, you're definitely entitled to your opinion. I don't agree, but, you know. Please stop by and say hi at the audio box. Oh, they're going to be there? Yeah, if I see them, I will. Alright, I'm spending way too much time on a stupid sound. I'll probably just leave it as that and then do some stupid bandpass thing or whatever. But there's some other stuff in here that sounds really freaking cool. Like, that was amazing, right? 10 out of 10. 10 out of 10 gameplay. This might be helpful. Drift. Okay. That's cool. It's unfortunate that it doesn't stretch out in the way that I would want it to, but there we go. Sorry guys, I'm just messing around and playing with this and seeing what cool shit I can get out of this. Yeah, anyways, I could spend a lifetime on this. If you guys are interested, you can always hang out with me on stream during the day. I suspect most of you are probably in another country if you're up and watching this, but every tune that I make is on stream. So there's that. I'm gonna cut out of this one and I'm gonna open up another project that actually has some clips built into them. It's a day. What do you mean? It's holy fuck, it's 4 in the morning. How long have I been live? I've already been live for 2 hours. Jesus. Okay, we'll check some of this clip launcher stuff out and see what there is. Performance has dwindled. A lot of gripes with Ableton since you're, yeah, not only that, but like it's based off of old code, so like they really need to do like an overhaul. So anyways, I got this like cute little sequencer thing of some clips that I've made, and it's cool. I've got a video coming out about this soon, but wait, do you guys want to hear the clips first, or do you want to hear the tune first? Same time zone, happy 4 a.m. West Coast. All right, I'll play the tune first. I'm still not sure about this tune. I'm not sure about the intro, but other than the intro, the rest of the tune is solid, but I'm not sure about the intro yet. Something's not playing right. I don't know what's going on. Oh, okay, that's what's going on. Okay, sorry. What the fuck? Why is it playing like that? Oh, probably because it's a beta. If I had to guess, it's most likely what's going on. But yeah, something's not playing right. So anyways, I'll just play the tune for you so that way it plays correctly. And then we'll take a look at the clips because I don't know if I'm going to be able to fix that or not. But here we go. BITWIG should buy Ableton. Slap in the face. There we go. Okay.
What the fuck?
Bring that shit back. So yeah, that's the tune. But anyways, this was actually conceived in this first, and this version is very different. Hey Arkin, good morning. But yeah, I've got these different clips here. So I guess what we can do is we can go to the settings on this and set alternate. So every 4 bars on global. Oh, you can't see this. Hold on 1 second. Now you can. I don't know what the percentage thing means. Starts relative to playing the clip's position. I don't think that's that big of a deal. I don't have any triggers to trigger this, so I don't know if I could show you all that or not. But yeah. Yeah, that's doing some weird shit, and that's not supposed to be playing that way. Am I modulating the project, or no? We're getting some weird. Broken. Yeah. Okay. Well, I don't know what's going on with this, but this seems totally broken. Has the GUI become darker? No. Hey Shiv, I just if you go into the settings here, and you go into contrast and midtones, and you turn everything all the way down, then that will make the whole interface black. Maybe we can try a different project. This is not playing back how it's supposed to, so I don't know what's up with that. But I've got another project, so we can try that. Trash beat quickly. This one in particular is not done. I just have the basic arrangement sketched out. But let's see if this plays back in the way that it's supposed to. BITWIG gets darker every update to symbolize the eventual heat death of the universe. Okay, here we go. This is playing back the way that it should. So I really like this riff. They're crazy times. So yeah, basically these are just a bunch of different stupid ideas. Yeah, anyways. What we can try to see is if there's anything that we can use in here to kind of create this, but I'm wondering if all of these release actions and stuff are only based off of if you manually trigger the scene. I keep it on the darkest setting. Maybe it's the full screen clip launcher that's throwing me off. Stupid idea, he says. I think they're pretty dumb. There's some more dumb ideas in here, but love those delayed downbeats. I mean, look, I'm not gonna lie. I've been trying to practice making just 808 bass lines with like some kind of percussion thing that's either ascending or descending. And the reason why I call it stupid is because I think the execution of these ideas are pretty lackluster. This is the dopest idea in the whole tune, I think. This one is cool. I like that one, but these other ones are kind of like at best. But yeah, I guess in any case, quantize to loop. Does this only work within if like I trigger it manually, or has anybody messed with this before? Each scene and clip has those settings as well, and this one is just a bonus. We humans were designed to operate on this planet, of course, and in space. Nothing works the same for us. I'm happy for the crazy time because I haven't been able to catch a stream in a long time because I still have a crazy person sleep schedule. Yay, Glork. How are you, bro? Yo, I pulled up our older video, of our wish list that we compiled together with, I think it was also with Yoku, right? Oh no, it was with Leo. I think Yoku was part of that conversation too. But like BITWIG answered most of the stuff that we asked for, like a large chunk of what we requested. It wasn't necessarily in the way that we wanted it to be, but like they delivered quite a bit that we were hoping for. Hey, Yoku. Yoku. So yeah, I guess we can kind of recap. Was there anything else that you all wanted me to look at? So 270 combinations. Yeah, this is everything I wanted besides sort and date for audio files. Oh, you were the one specifically that was talking about the browser. How do you feel about the browser minus the bug? Even on Earth, we can't hear, see certain things that already exist, like infrared. There's the new key tracking modulator, which we didn't really look at. Maybe we can kind of pop that up and see what that looks like. Key tracking. First, you like keys, and you like tracking. This is Key Track Plus. What's the difference? Well, I don't have the new update because I can't afford it right now. Oh, dude, I'm so sorry. Oh, okay, cool. So it's just a shaper. That's sick. I guess I was under the assumption that that you had connections with them. I'm so sorry. I feel really bad now. Tracking these keys. If BITWIG can implement the grain table from the virus TI, I don't think I need anything else from them. Well, I think like as far as like needs go, I think we're good. Like I think BITWIG 4.0 was like more than enough to make your wildest dreams of sounds and music and what the fuck ever. But like the stuff that we talk about now is just like, okay, how do we make it more efficient? How do we make it more, how do we make this into the dream as opposed to just covering our needs, right? So this looks like the old version, which I think is still, I guess it's simplified because this is much smaller. Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, I like this better. I like that it's not like the other one had that weird pitching stuff, like where you set the root note and all that, but I guess with this one in particular, does it have, how do you set the root note? Does it not have a root note, or do you just pick the scale? Maybe linear phase crossovers would be cool. 4.0 is a beast. How do we make this ducking browser work? Dude, it's gonna come out. They're probably gonna fix it in the next beta. For me, it's only about being able to phase modulate sampler output and grid like you do with other oscillators. That would be cool. Can you use Spectral Suite stuff to do linear phase splits? Fuck, I don't know. I'm not sure. It's 4 a.m. So if I don't know, if it doesn't come to me right off the bat, I'm just going to say, I don't know. If I remember, I'll come back to it later. Because I'm usually in bed by now. So there's that. I think that's really cool. I don't know where the root note is. Oh, there it is. So I guess you just set it to where you want it to be. But how do we take the little ball thing? Yo, I need that node. I need that point to move over. You could, but at the expense of latency. Latency. Just bounce it to audio. Latency. Do you guys hear the cat? Hey, Alckemy, what do you think about the new browser? I bet you love being able to search for devices. I bet you love being able to search for these nudes. In theory, I think it's cool, but it's broken. So that's that. I really like this idea. This idea is super cool. Lately, I've been latency. Lately. What is that song? Lately. Is that a Pharrell song? This is a game changer. Yeah. What else is there that's really cool? There's no linear phase crossovers without latency. But overall, for me and my workflow, I believe BITWIG pretty much has everything it could do and even more. And even stock sampler is already a beast. Yeah, the stock sampler is incredible. If you guys haven't seen that, I've got a video on that. Also, just so you all know, I stream Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday. And I'm usually doing music production. So if you if you guys have questions about BITWIG or something and I can answer it, I'm usually much better about it. But again, it's just really late, and this is the only time that I have to stream the new beta and stuff. But I think the biggest update for me was the global modulators and being able to control that. I just like, to be honest, I can't even fathom like how I'm gonna use it yet. I know that there's a ton of potential composition wise to do some sick shit. I just I don't know how I'm gonna do it yet. But as a means of like doing global effects and like just setting everything to a modulator as opposed to having to do how do you say having to do automation, a modulation remat feature would also be pretty cool. Well, I guess you can modulate a modulator though. That's the thing about too many options. Still dope. Hey, Alckemy, easy one at 4. Rent to own or buy. Demo is what you should do. Is rent before you, instead of asking the question of rent to own, I'd say demo it and see if it's for you. Can't you just audio rate mod into the grid with a wave shaper? yo, Glork coming with the knowledge. I think it's now up to us as producers to do stuff and innovate. Yeah, and I guess like, well, it's always cool to talk about features, right? And that's always like a fun thing, because part of the reason why I love this channel so much is that we talk about the latest and greatest and innovative features. Like, I would like to say that I'm the kind of person that doesn't just go, oh, that's cool, and then we flip through presets. I'm the kind of person that's like, let's get deep and dirty in this in the way that I know how, and talk about like what's the cutting edge of technology and about where we want it to go in the future, right? And so for me personally, with having a relationship with this DAW and the way that I use it, it's very different than somebody like Polarity or even Glork or even Dash. And the way that they use it is very different in the way that I use it, or my approach anyways is very different. So I come up with my own feature things that I want to see, but that's part of the fun, is the technology and being like, yo, this is coming out. Oh, this is cool. And you know, it's okay to be like excited or disappointed or whatever. But, you know, I definitely enjoyed talking about use cases and about how to like, you know, or about what we can do with this stuff, or about how to make it more interesting, I guess. Yeah, but I mean, we got MSEGs, we got 5 of them. We got a new waveform maker, which we didn't get a wavetable maker, but we got a waveform maker. Dash had a really cool hack earlier in the stream about how to turn it into a wavetable that you can make your own, which is really freaking sick. Even though it's not like drawing harmonics and stuff, like you can just draw in your own wavetable, which is super convenient. We got our dedicated wave shaper. Unfortunately, it's only in the grid. Why? Well, that's probably the most frustrating thing for me right now, is why are all the coolest distortion devices only in the grid? It doesn't make sense to me. It just makes me sad. I'm just kidding. It's a slight inconvenience, but it's not that big of a deal. I guess there's a new step sequencer, which is cool. So we got the MSEGs, we got the global modulators. This thing is badass. Like, I'm really excited to figure out how to use this. Like, I know how to use it in a means of like in concept, but and sound design as well. Like, it's extremely useful for sound design. We've already done plenty of effects on that, but for a means of implementing it into a project, I'm kind of curious as to how that would work. And then I think that we talked about most of the features here. That's pretty interesting. Does anybody have any other kinds of questions and stuff? As far as like my recap of thoughts, what I would like to see in future updates is, I want on a kilohertz. Yeah, me too. For me, I would like a device workflow overhaul. So I would love the ability to maybe like move this up and then change the layout of, instead of this being horizontal, I want it to be vertical, where you can create lanes and then just like right click and put in devices or something. What's the inconvenience there? I don't get it. I mean, the grid is right there. The inconvenience is that I have to go effects grid, then I have to open the effects grid, and then I have to hit confirm, and then I have to type in shaper in order to find what I want, or I guess just pull whatever one up. But then not only that, I also have to drag it in here, and I could save it as a preset or whatever, but like I just want it as a device. Yeah, as opposed to saving this as a preset, I just want it as a device. Like it's just kind of like, what? Like I don't want to make I don't want to make a preset for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 different distortion units that I just have to like, you know, why not just do one and then right click it and go change into, you know, instead of quantizer, change it to rectifier, or right click and go change into hard clip or change into distortion or something. The workflow, like what I would like to see as well is, let's say you have like a chorus or something. Like I would love to see the ability to just go right click and then go and then have the same things that you do here. Whereas if you go right click, you go replace with this. This is the innovation that I think BITWIG needs on the device workflow menu. This is what I'm talking about. So imagine if you have this with all of their first party snap-ins and stuff. It doesn't even have to be third party. Like we probably want that in the future at some point. But because they've already implemented this in some way or another, right? If you do this, yeah, Spin Timon is making a preset out of every module, but imagine if you had lanes here like you did in Multipass or Snap Heap, but BITWIG, I'm tired. I'm so sorry, guys. But imagine you could extend the device menu upwards and start working like this as you would within Faceplant, but you can do it with replacing, or maybe you can create a custom bank. Yeah, exactly, just one grid preset or something, right? And then you just change this to lanes. But you know, the device menu, you can only move it, you can't resize it. So if you go right click and then go to vertical layout and you just change the layout and then you allow us to do this thing with the right click thing, like I don't think it would be that hard to code. Have 20 million to give to kilohertz to develop a DAW, please? I know, right? Come on, it's 10 minutes to min-max to map one knob for what you need to do. It's not that hard. It's not about it being hard. It's about time and about yeah, it's an efficiency thing. With one grid preset and macros. I mean, yeah, it's still, like I said, I don't want to do that. Like even if you have all of your things and then you have a mix for each one, like that's still, I mean, if that's the case, then why don't we get rid of all of the devices that we have and then just have everything be in the grid? You know what I'm saying? Like it's not conducive, and not everybody likes to work within this environment. Yeah, way more CPU than you need. Perfectly happy with BITWIG and where it's heading. Me too. But I think that workflow proposition would be extremely useful. I could just be spoiled from kilohertz, but I could only say like this is the most efficient way to sound design. Hey Buxton, good to see you. I don't really know a whole lot about it either, but yeah, in my opinion, this is the most efficient way to sound design. The semi-modular infinite effects, you got your modulators down below or whatever. Like even if you took this away, like you didn't have the modulators below and you had everything be filed in within the little key thing, which I actually think would be even better. I think that would be incredible. So let's say the effect grid, like this panel right here, this device thing, could expand, and then it becomes a container. Then you can just add in modules and stuff like that in the same way that you would with Polymer. I don't know. Am I crazy for thinking that? I think BITWIG killed Faceplant for me. Have you seen my granular update review? No. that's probably the hottest take you've had tonight. First of all, they depend on each other, or they coexist with each other really well. But second of all, like I said, you just can't beat Faceplant's workflow. it's super efficient. I agree about PP being the biggest deal in the market, but the idea to have a full and one DAW is really strong for me. As I said, for me, you didn't say for me. Oh, you did say for me. I'm sorry. Yeah, okay, sorry. You did say for me. BitWig still doesn't have poly effects on the same level as Faceplant. Yeah, it's got some great modulators and stuff that are unique to it, but you know, like making a snare in this, or making drums in this, or making neurobass in this. Okay, here we go. I'll show you. This is going to drive the point home. So hold on one second. So check this out. It's different now. It's a little bit different now because the global modulators exist, but it's still a nuisance because of what I'm about to show you. Dying light. I think that's something on here. Let me just go to everything. Or deadlight, maybe. Here it is. Deadlight. Is this a preset? No. Hold on. Let me find my container. Yeah, this is not the most. Okay. I'll just walk you through it. So if I wanted to start adding effects to this, because I think that I don't have these presets on here right now, I have to click on this tab. I have to click on my distortion. Even though I'm working on this super fast, right? Then I have to click on this tab, which you can't see them both at the same time. Then I have to go into my filter. Then I have to go into, you know, my chorus. I have to type this in individually to find it, whatever. And then I gotta flip on this tab. Like, I can't see all these at the same time. And in the last version, you had to put everything within a container in order to be able to add modulation. So you had to do this to where you would go, I don't know, random. And then now I have to click on low, go here, click on mid, go here, click on whatever else I have in here. It's not as convenient. Can you do it? Absolutely. That's totally valid. Then you pull up Faceplant. And you go 2, 3. And you go, even if you were to do it on here, you know, or whatever, or you go multipass and you go, same thing. You go distortion, 3 bands, chorus, filter, random, boom, all right here. You go 1, 2, 3. You get what I'm saying? The speed of this, and it's not because I know Faceplant better. If anything, I've been using BitWig longer than I have Faceplant. No, that's not true. I've been using Faceplant a little bit longer than BitWig, but even still, you can't beat this. Am I coming to bed? I can't. My chat is wrong on the internet. Faceplant is amazing and all, yet it's still not BitWig's modularity level. I mean, there's some modulators that Faceplant doesn't have, but are you telling me that you use every single modulator in Faceplant that you do in BitWig? Yeah, I see. I'd like to see them expand on the device area, sort of like how the other windows go full screen. And that's what I'm saying. So if BitWig had this in the device menu to where you can extend it and have a layout similar, it doesn't need to be like, it doesn't need to be a kilohertz knockoff. But I do think that this is where sound design apparatuses should go. Yeah, exactly. But just in the sheer amount of time that it takes in order to design things that way, especially if you know what you're doing, and then you save this as a rack, right? And then that becomes a thing. And then you go, okay, mix. Then you could have multiple windows open at once, but I don't have to click between tabs, and it's not all confined within this much space. It's all laid out. And this thing that I'm talking about right here is the same thing that I'm talking about that's already implemented within the grid of, you go here into the effects grid, you pull something in that's related. So you go shaper, put this in, right click, replace. So it's all there. Like it technically could exist. And I think that having something kind of like this would be extremely helpful to be able to work on, or to be able to, like, sorry guys, I need to go to bed soon, but semi-modular. So not to where it's like just anywhere in space. Cause like imagine if the grid was down here in the device menu and you had to like scroll to find it. But if it was semi-modular to where you can open it up and then it's in lanes that's on a vertical sense. So it all goes down this way. And then you just right click and go chorus. Even if it was just first party, that would be money. The birds are going to start chirping soon. Yeah, it's 4:30 in the morning. To me, BitWig has always sort of felt like a giant phase plan, but with a worse workflow. And while 5 seemed to solve the MSEG problem, it's still way slower. I mean, it is, and you have to consider that, like, it's not meant to replace everything, but just as a means of what could be better, that would be my suggestion. I think this is the greatest contribution that BitWig can make right now. Maybe not. They probably have their own ideas for stuff, but I do think that changing the workflow in which people do sound design is where every DAW should go. I think every DAW should, like Kiloheart's semi-modular approach, I think, is the meta. I can't think of a better way to do sound design that, like, outside of that, and I don't, because it's just so efficient. And if it's not going to be as efficient, then I think that it should be fun, because there's a thing with that too. The other thing that I would like to see, and we talked about it already, Polarity has a video on it. I haven't watched it yet, but I'm going to watch it, is a fugue machine. So a fugue machine, or a different kind of sequencer that's built in to the MIDI roll. Like maybe just have like a modulator that's like playback or something, or like a MIDI note rather, or a MIDI effect, or you know what I mean? Something like that has like multi-playhead mode. That's probably the way to do it. But imagine if this was a MIDI effect, or if it was some kind of modulator, or maybe just even something that is native to the grid in this way. This is probably the most useful device that I have come across musically, not to mention on my phone. I entered MIDI mid-combo and I misunderstood the message. I agree 100%. I do kind of like the grid though, and how it wants to be an abstraction but still try to real modular in its functionality. Yeah, I agree. I think that the grid definitely has a use case, but what I'm talking about is per device, because some devices are not available in the grid and some devices are not available in the device menu. So like there needs to be some kind of marriage between the two. Yeah, just working with Snapheap has made things more interesting for me in itself. Yeah. And I'm not saying that like it needs to be, like I said, exactly the same, but I do think that would be a really positive step for BitWig and any DAW, for Ableton, for Reason. I guess Reason is kind of already like that, but it's not semi-modular, it's completely modular. Yeah, the browser's kind of broken right now, so I'm not really trying to review it. I think that I was judging it, and tinkering and prototyping is faster with kilohertz. If you have solid concept that you know how to build and finish and want total control more than 8 macros, I would go with the BitWig preset. I think that's a good comparison. FL Studio did that right, even if it's quite unstable and it stands now for a lot less potential than the grid. You're talking about with Patcher. I do like that in Patcher you can use third-party effects. That's super cool. But there's no modulators. So it's like, I feel like FL Studio would, if FL Studio had modulators built into it in the way that BitWig did, just like the random and MSEG and all that stuff, it would be a contender for something that I would consider using with time stretching, but they're not a big deal. Yeah, I think that there is a consensus there. Some things I like better in BITWIG, some things I like better in Ableton, but give and take, you know. Grid is already a thing that allows me to create a whole track without too much cluttering. The grid has so much potential, just like VCV Rack, but I feel like it's like, I guess it's cool because it's easy to get into, hard to master, but holy shit, is it so hard for me to wrap my head around. I think I prefer the flexibility of sound design to VCV Rack. There's nothing wrong with that either for time stretching, I guess. But what's cool about BITWIG is that you can time stretch further than 999 BPM, or like you can like infinitely stretch it, which I think is sick. There are modulators in FL, but they're rather slow to use workflow wise. I think there's like one, which is the peak controller, right? I use Cardinal instead. But I guess that's kind of part of it too, is like in theory, maybe you could do it, but yeah. I don't know. Anyways, I want this for the computer. I need this thing for the computer. This thing is so much fun to use. And by the way, if you all are on iOS, if anyone is on iOS, please go watch my video on how to make Neurobass on your phone. It's freaking crazy. So cool. I've actually made an Eternum patch on my phone. This is Fugue Machine. This is what I'm saying. I hope that some DAW or BITWIG adopts at some point. Like, pay this person or make your own version, but Fugue Machine is so sick. Do you guys want to see it? I could just do that. I guess I'll show you some stuff in Drambo if you want, which is a whole different thing to talk about. Drambo is the future of like convenience. I don't think that it's necessarily the future of music creation, but as far as a sound design tool, it is 100% essential. Also, I genuinely think that already MIDI effects are ridiculously strong and can do a lot. Just for some reason, those effects didn't get much coverage. Are you talking about in 4.0? The note effect stuff? I think, well, I guess so, but I think that it just kind of takes a while to set up, or it's kind of like, I think that it requires a lot more intuition to use in a way that is breaking as opposed to like something like this. So let me show you what this does. We're going to switch over to me for a second. Check this out. Yeah, I have Sunvox. That thing is so hard to understand how to use. I don't get it. All right, you guys want to see some cool shit? Check this out. So I'll just pull this up. This is an Eternum style bass. So the way that I've made this work, this has a frequency splitter in it. This is so fucking cool. This is basically like Pocket BITWIG, because you can modulate third-party effects with modulators and stuff. It's fucking sick. This thing is so cool. But yeah, check it out. Let me see where the mix thing is. So we have just a regular Neurobass over on the middle, or sorry, on the left, which is with the filters and stuff. Hold on one second. And if I move the knob over to the right, it goes into a generator. Guys, this is on my phone. This is so fucking cool. But anyways, in the same way that you would within, I'd say Ableton, because you have to put the modulators on the timeline. Like, yeah, like you could literally do this entire thing on your phone. You can only do like one patch at a time or whatever, but you'll notice that like you'll see these guys moving, and you'll see that they're moving on their own. Are these guys moving? Yeah, look over on the left. So I've got these modulators and stuff that are literally randomizing these parameters as I would in Phase Plant, but I'm just doing it from the convenience of my phone. It's 20 bucks. It's 30 bucks if you get the Wavetable version, which I totally recommend. So there's that. Now, Fugue Machine, I'm just going to pull up a preset, but Fugue Machine is so cool, man. It's such a wonderful tool. That last tune that I played for you was made with Fugue Machine, but check this out. Sorry, this isn't a good example. My bad. Let me find another preset here. Where is... Here we go. So... So I'll turn this off. Turn this off. And what this does is it's a multiple playhead. So what I can do is I can just draw in some MIDI here. Kind of like so. Maybe change this here. And then I'm going to make this go a little bit slower. And then I'll hit play. Then I'll introduce the second playhead. Yeah. Maybe I want to introduce this at 4 speed. The only thing that I wish that this had was nudge and like off-grid sequencing or off-grid placement. Everything is quantized, unfortunately, and there's no swing, but I can set this to backwards. Isn't this so sick? Basically, instant bog. You can also change the stuff over here. This is in D sharp Phrygian dominant, but all you have to do is just change the scale. And then you can transpose it. It's so cool, man. This is BitWig 5. Well, you can in BitWig, apparently. Polarity has already made a Fugue Machine, and that I'm going to go watch that video because I want to know how to do this, but this is definitely something that I would love to see implemented within a DAW itself, just because of how useful it is, but with more features. So the thing with this is that you can only put stuff on grid, which stinks, and like it's incredibly limited. It's very cool, very powerful, but super limited. Whereas if you were able to maybe have like, imagine operators with this, or imagine being able to like move things and swing them off time. Oh, that'd be sick. I didn't see that in the beta. Imagine if you could, you know, have chants with this, or maybe even have repeats or something. Like there's so much that this could be expanded on that I don't know. I just love this thing. So there's that. But yeah, You can even change this out for a wavetable or something if you wanted to, kind of like so. And then we just set a global amp on here, kind of like this. ADSR. Okay, I'll just type in ADSR. Sorry. Put that in, and then we got to tell it where to go. Okay, it's there. So now we set this to here. Oh, check this out. Oh, wait, hold on. I've got my own wavetables in here. Look at this. This is so cool. This thing is so cool, man. Sorry, I'm getting lost in it. So what's really neat about this, you guys, is I can use this stuff. Like, I make this stuff in bed next to my partner. She's asleep. I'm on my phone with earpods, and I'm literally on my phone making this shit. So I'm making neurobass, I'm making kicks, I'm making snares, I'm making all of this stuff on my phone. The only other thing that I would say that I think BITWIG could do that would be an amazing move would be if they released a fully featured iPad version. Because of the integration that iPad apps are making, especially with interactivity, which is a whole thing that I want to talk to everybody about at some point. But with the innovation that people are using with the interactivity of these crazy plugins, like these AUV apps that are like gesture based, or I've even got this other one that's called, I showed it to you, but it's called Impactor, to where it uses the microphone and creates a physical modeling engine to be able to create percussion with. So like you put the phone down, you tap, and then it takes the impulse of the microphone and transitions it into a drum sound. Like the versatility of the phone apparatus and the iPad apparatus in itself, the camera even, there's an app that you point your camera at things, and based off of the colors or the light frequency and temperature and stuff, it creates sound. So these are things that I want to see on the computer, because the interactivity behind things is what I feel is one of the most lacking things with traditional means of making tunes. And you could always say like, well, you could do hardware, you could do this and that, you could do that, but you have a phone. You have a phone. If you have a phone, you have an iPad. There's all this crazy shit that you can get into that it's unique. The phone is hardware. If you think about it, it's upgradable hardware. Give me a bun-up phone with BITWIG. Yeah, that'd be pretty cool, right? I honestly think that iPad Pros are going to substitute the MacBook Air. I don't think Mac will do it. I don't think Mac is ever going to do that. There's too much of a market for it. But I mean, theoretically, you're right. I mean, fuck. An M2 processor is in an iPad now. Can you believe that? An M2 processor is in an iPad. I'm going to say that one more time. An M2 processor is in an iPad. Can finally afford iOS devices, and they are great for hardware. Like, I love my M2 iPad. It was 2K though. I don't think that it's too. I was checking on Amazon and it was like 750, unless if you like did the whole upgrade shebang thing, which I don't blame you, but I think you can get an entry level iPad Pro with an M2 with like 128 gigs of stuff, or 128 gigs of memory for like 750, maybe 256. Maybe we should check that out. But yeah, I would love to see you know what? Now that I realize that, that's why we probably don't do that. I bet everyone is waiting for like Mac to announce that operating system, because theoretically if you have a Surface Pro, then you can install BITWIG onto the tablet. You could actually install Phaseplan onto the tablet too, but I don't think that the Surface Pros are like anywhere close to what the iPads are doing. But I feel like it's like, you do it first. No, you do it first. Because imagine being a company and being like, fuck, I'm not going to put all these resources into making a mobile app when they're going to end up going into the operating system anyways, right? So like, that's why I don't think that they'll ever do it. But I also don't think that Mac is ever going to transition into full operating system on that. Hey, Al, did you know that an M2 processor is in an iPad? Bro, why? Why are you... What are you trying to pull here? With a little trickery, the Surface is very worthy. 256 gigabytes. $800, 128. 4th generation. I don't think this one was what I was looking for. iPad 2022. Oh no, this is 2022. Yeah, but Surface Touch is just not comparable to an iPad. I don't think so either. But, I mean, yeah, like, this is, you know, and not to mention, the other thing about this too is that plugins for iPad and iOS is so much cheaper than buying plugins for the computer. Is so much cheaper. The Surfaces are amazing, and if Microsoft pulls off the stuff they're planning, they're going to be amazing. I don't know, man. It's 4:45 a.m. My humor is broke. Yeah, I don't know. I think that this stuff is definitely worth having a conversation about, though, because, as I said, I would love for BITWIG to go in this direction. You know, I don't necessarily think that I would sell my laptop and get an iPad, but fuck, I'd probably buy an iPad and, you know, make shit on my phone and use all the cool little AUV apps and stuff that they have to, you know, do a combination of both or whatever. But I think that tablets and mobile devices in general is the future. It's easier and more stable to make apps for iOS. Yeah, I just don't know what the future of iOS holds. Who uses the Surface with BITWIG and as the nucleus of his studio? I gotta remember his name, but you probably know him already. I don't, actually. I don't know anybody. I've never seen BITWIG. I've seen BITWIG on a Steam Deck, but I haven't seen how it performs on a Surface Pro. And I'm kind of curious as to how BITWIG with Phaseplan would perform on a Surface Pro, because in theory, right, like the Surface Pro just runs Windows, if I'm not mistaken. That's correct, right? It just runs Windows. Molten Music Technology. I'm gonna go follow him because that sounds really cool, and I'm curious to see what that's like. I just wish I could game on it too. Like, imagine if I could play Resident Evil 4. I guess you can. You could do like streaming, or like, yeah, you can do like Xbox or something. Xbox streaming. Wait, what was his name? Molten Music Technology. Alright, I subbed to him. I'm going to check him out, because that seems really interesting to me. As long as it continues to use the Linux platform, will be okay. Molten is awesome. I love his hole. What does that even mean? Anywho, does anybody have any questions about anything that we did today? I had a lot of fun, and I'm so glad that I did this, but I gotta go to bed soon because I gotta wake up and stream. So I gotta go to bed so I can wake up and keep working on tunes. Is tryharding on Windows and Android threads? It's silly, to be honest. I mean, like, you kind of have to respect that people are pushing that, though, right? That's how things are becoming innovative. At least that's how I feel right now. Molten's holes are your right. Oh, okay, gotcha. Yeah, I'm like, if you can make tunes on your phone and you can figure out how to make it work, like, when you wake up, maybe please chat. I'm gonna be up for about 20 to 30 more minutes, so if you want to maybe chat on mobile or something, then I'm up for it. But you guys, you're amazing. I love you all to pieces. Thank you so much for joining me tonight. I'm so lucky that I had like such a large audience for this. Thank you. It means the world that, you know, that you guys come in no matter what time I'm streaming and hang out with me. It's kind of weird, but it's really fucking cool. I am going to go to bed. I am going to talk to Zane because I love Zane. But aside from that, you guys are amazing, and I hope that you all join me tomorrow while I'm making tunes. And yeah, I'm kind of curious as to, like, can you guys do me a favor? Can you guys like sound off in the Discord or in the comment section if you're not part of the Discord, and like, when is the optimal time for me to stream? Because lately I've been getting numbers that's been like 7 people, which, by the way, I'm not complaining. I love you all and thank you so much for being here, and every single one of you matter. But I'm trying to expand my audience to where I actually get people, like, I want everybody in the chat, you know? I want my stream to grow. I don't just want to do that. So sound off in the comments when is the best time that you all would check in. And you don't have to stay the whole time, but just when would be cool. That would be extremely helpful for me, because I'd be willing to change what time I stream if that means, you know, getting some more people in here. I'm in Europe. Normally you stream at night, late evening, so that's okay for me. That's good to know. All right, for sure. I don't work per se, so any time is good for me. All right, well, here's the second question. It's 1:51 p.m. The second question is, what do I have to do to get you all to come into the stream and make it fun for you? Your time is worth it to me, and I value you all very much. I hope you know that. So if I'm going to ask you to come in, I want it to be worth it. But that's something that I'm thinking about. You all were here tonight, and that's what counts. Thank you all so much. I think that I'm like, I'm fading, friends. I'm fading. You all are amazing. Okay, I'm going to go. I'm going to see you tomorrow as soon as I wake up to get down on some beats. Nocturnal. You know that song from Disclosure and The Weeknd? Yeah. Much love, everybody. I'm going to bed. Good night. Stream a bit earlier than usual. I tried that. You're going to keep me on here if we keep arguing over this. I'm going to bed. Good night, everybody.